are acting erroneously. We have judges who are acting as partisan activists from the bench.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the president would comply with the court orders, but she called them egregious, and the administration will continue to appeal. Greg Clugston, the White House.
It's a bold move, to say the least. President Trump preparing to sign an executive order eliminating the Department of Education. It does raise constitutional questions, given the agency was created by Congress back in the late 70s. Things heating up in the Mideast. Rockets fired at central Israel as the Israelis step up airstrikes across the Gaza Strip. From fires to blizzards to fierce winds, parts of the U.S., including the plains and the Midwest, have witnessed wild weather as we transition into spring.
Roughly 72 million people were under a wind advisory or warning, with winds gusting over 45 miles an hour, according to Brian Jackson, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service's Weather Prediction Center. Jackson said at this time of year, cold air lingering in the north collides with warm air from the south to produce strong low-pressure systems. But he added that the latest weather was the third storm system to rapidly develop in recent weeks and bring high winds to a large swath of the U.S., a very active pattern since February. Bernie Bennett reporting.
With inflation still elevated, the Bank of England holding the main UK interest rate at 4.5%. Just yesterday, the Fed voted to keep the U.S. benchmark rate right where it is. Now, at Wall Street, ahead of this morning's opening bell, the Dow futures are down 175 points. The Nasdaq futures off 122. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Let me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free, too, with their 3-week Quick Start Kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF for Relief Factor.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
The Ukrainian and the Russian presidents take some initial small steps toward a ceasefire.
Both leaders agreeing to a limited ceasefire. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says
the president's team of negotiators and national security experts will be heading to Saudi again later this week to continue working on and ironing out the details.
Those details include when a ceasefire might take effect and what would be off limits to attack. One thing that is clear, there are differing views. The White House saying energy and infrastructure will be covered, the Kremlin referring more narrowly to energy infrastructure. While Zelensky says he'd also like railways and ports to be protected in a ceasefire. Ben Thomas, Washington.
An unnamed government official tells the AP that Canadian Prime Minister Carney will soon call a snap election. The official says a vote is expected to take place on April 28th. Carney was sworn in as Canada's new Prime Minister last Friday. News and analysis, townhall.com. Congressional Republicans take aim at police stations they say are being run in the U.S. by the Chinese Communist Party under the cover of bureaucratic services.
Representative Ashley Hinson on Friday introduced the Expel Illegal Chinese Police Act to counter what she and co-sponsor Senator Tom Cotton called China's illegal intimidation tactics. The facilities in question purportedly offer assistance to Chinese nationals living abroad, but in fact the lawmakers say are acting as the enforcement arm of the CCP. The stations are accused of spying on Americans and of harassing Chinese citizens who have fled the communist regime. Bob Agnew reporting.
In Pompano Beach, Florida, Broward County Sheriff's officials say that 3 people have been found shot to death inside a home. They were found during a welfare check last evening. Few details beyond that. The Sheriff's homicide and crime scene units are investigating. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat.
Yeah, come on.
A feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel and what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Ah, yes. Welcome to it.
Dare I say, a calmer, gentler Thursday?
I'll take it. Yesterday was kind of a mixed bag. It was windy for the beginning. I mean, it actually stayed windy a lot longer than I expected it to, but it died down.
4 or 5 o'clock, it was kind of nice out.
Yeah,
How was your trek to
my kid was asking to play outside once we got back. Actually, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, have you ever been to the Core?
No. Well, pull back the curtain.
Sorry. I took the kids yesterday afternoon. Myself, Jocelyn actually came along with us, and our friend Misty.
Yeah.
It was her birthday, so we were celebrating.
Misty's birthday.
Yes, Misty's birthday.
Happy birthday, Misty.
So we were celebrating, and we went to the Core in Hobbs, which, if you've never been, it's an all-encompassing sports activity center.
Okay.
They have, and I mean, like everything.
Okay.
You pay to get in. Like for myself and my two kids, it was $24.
Uh-huh.
But once you're in, you're in. They have a lap pool. They have this is all indoor, by the way. They have a lap pool. They have a separate splash zone with a pool, hot tub, lazy river, a couple of water slides.
Lazy river?
Lazy river. It's a really, really cool setup.
Wow.
Break away from that.
All indoors.
And this is it's probably like 4 stories tall.
Wow.
Break away from that, you've got this climbing center. Like, if you've ever been to like a
rock
discovery zone
or a rope net climbing thing?
Kind of, but it had like a play area for the kids at the bottom.
Yeah.
But then you could climb, and there's it's 4 levels of chains and stuff you can climb up.
Kind of American Ninja Warrior.
Kind of like that. Like if you've ever been to Meow Wolf, for example, it's kind of like that, where it's different levels of activities.
Okay. More physical related.
Yeah, exactly. On the other side of that, there is a full size, and this was the part that I didn't see this till the end, but it blew my mind. A full size soccer field.
Wow.
Indoor
nice.
Soccer field.
Do they play indoor leagues in there and stuff?
Yeah, they have different teams will come out and
do they have boards and stuff like indoor soccer does?
What do you mean?
There's actual indoor soccer as a sport.
Right.
But some of the difference is they have
hockey.
boards like a hockey rink.
No.
Yeah.
This is it's open on the side.
Okay, so it's a regular outdoor soccer field.
Yeah.
Indoors.
And then on the far side, it's funny you mentioned American Ninja Warrior. They have this essentially an obstacle course set up like Ninja Warrior,
course or whatever.
And this is all just encompassed in one building.
Please stop climbing on my buildings. We built one out here for you.
It's a really, really, really cool spot though, and
cool. That does sound like fun.
I came
what's,
to the
what's the asking price to get into something like this?
Well, myself and the two kids were $24.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all.
No,
stay the whole day if you want to. They have ping pong and a little arcade
you
area.
Said ping pong?
Ping pong.
I was not interested until you said ping pong.
I wasn't in, man. You dropped ping pong on me. You can't save something like that to the end.
Ping pong? You should have led with that.
I was playing ping pong and ding dang.
Or how they say in China, ping pong.
Ping pong. But yeah, just a really, really cool facility. We actually got to talk to a gentleman. We went to grab something to eat afterwards at a Schlotsky's that actually just opened there.
Oh, nice. I know you're a big fan, aficionado of the Schlotsky.
I got a little bit of inside information that I'll drop at the end.
Ooh, you gonna hit us with a Schlotsky's coming to Roswell? Nice.
Maybe.
Maybe.
So we talked to this guy who just opened the Schlotzsky's, and he was saying that, yeah, he was part of the board of directors that kind of set up the thing for the Corps. And during that meeting, he said, but will like the whole thing was, but will they continue to come? Will people continue to come?
Yeah.
They said, okay, well, let's add this in. But will they continue to come? Then they added this. And it just became this thing where they just added on top of like, everything on top of it to where it just became this massive building.
Oh, that's cool.
But the guy said he's got a 3-year contract, and Roswell is one of the places he's looking at for a location. So
Maybe. We'll see.
don't tell anybody I told you.
Keep this on the DL.
The car little secret. You know,
kids are like, "What's the DL?" That's something when I was a kid was cool.
You know, the 411.
That's right. My grandparents.
That's even worse.
My parents don't know what it is either.
Right. But
well, that's cool. But you had a good time.
I did.
I'm gonna take because I know Rhiannon's a huge pool aficionado, so I imagine she was kind of in her own little happy place.
It's hilarious to me, and I pointed this out to somebody yesterday. Rhiannon will have a freak out, like meltdown level if you tell her they have to check the pressure of her eye when we were at her eye exam. And they said, honey, it's just going to feel like this. And they just tapped her hand. And she goes, no. And she had a meltdown. This chick climbed like 5 stories up and went down a massive water slide, like 5 times.
Yeah.
She has no fear when it comes to like
everything.
Thrill rides.
That makes sense to me because, you know, your brain is protect the sensitive parts.
Yeah.
All the sensitive parts.
Yeah.
And so that's a sensitive part. I get it.
But she's gung ho when it comes to thrill rides. So yeah, she was up on the water slide.
Sensitive parts. I get it. Like, look, yeah, I'll go do that. Don't touch my eye.
One of the cooler parts of the whole setup. Yeah. They have a hot tub. It's like on raised up the pool down here, and there's like a hot tub. It's adults only. No,
nice.
No kids allowed.
You can look
which
down
is
and
great.
judge.
It's great if you like have friends with kids and they can go off and do their thing.
I get it.
But I had to I really wanted to do the hot tub. So I'm like, can you tag out, watch my kid for a second so I can come try this. I had to stay on Hunter, so I couldn't. Cool. But man, dude, it's a cool facility.
Excellent.
It really is awesome.
So next time, folks in Hobbs, maybe make a side trip out there to check out their what is it called?
The Corps. The Corps. Yep.
Okay. It's like an aquatics recreation center.
Mm-hmm. It's like right smack dab in the middle of town.
Nice, very
cool setup. Not a sponsor, by the way. Just
no, but
just enjoy the afternoon.
It could be. You know, reach out.
I'm just saying.
We got salespeople down in that
right.
neck of the woods. Go start knocking on doors down there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, well, cool. That sounds like a lot of fun. I'll have to, maybe next time I have a batch of kids, I'll say, hey, maybe try down to Hobbs there next. So we get some.
There you go.
Denises and nephews.
It's a bit of a drive, but it's not terrible.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, this is southeast New Mexico. They drive 3 hours for anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
For an actual, afternoon of activity. Sure, why not? I mean, they'll drive 3 hours for a sandwich.
I've done that.
I would like to not proudly admit I have done the same. How many times have you craved like an owl burger? Like, all right.
I remember.
Let's go. We'll do something on the way or on the way back. We're going for an owl burger.
There was a time when Roswell didn't have a Burger King, but Artesia did, and people would drive from Roswell to Artesia just to get a Whopper.
Yeah, no, I'm not that dedicated on that kind of thing, but unless it's mom and pop. But cool. That's cool. I'm glad y'all had fun, and I guess something that will be added to the repertoire in maybe a regular quarterly or something.
Yeah, I mean it's not like a everyday thing,
right? Maybe once every 3 months or so.
Yeah.
Take the kids on down and have some fun there, or special occasions.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some birthday parties.
If I really need Rhiannon to behave for the rest of the week, I can set that up.
Dangle that carrot.
Yep.
Absolutely. Oh man, well let me give you the rundown for today's show. We're going to replay an interview this hour. Gary Thrine joined us from the Roswell Chamber of Commerce yesterday. He's a membership coordinator, talking about Rise Over Roswell, which is 1 week from today.
Oh wow!
Like if it was 1 week exactly, you'd be 1 hour into the breakfast.
Right, it'd be almost over
in 15 minutes. But so we talked about that. We also talked about some other upcoming events, things, membership as well. In the 8:00 hour, we're going to replay our interview we had on Monday with City Councilor Juliana Halverson. And then we also had Chantel and Shaylin with Animal Control. They're the director and kennel coordinator, respectively, and talking about some of the, of course, City Council added or changed some ordinances regarding animal ownership within the city limits, chaining animals, things like that. Of course, spay, neuter, all that stuff's in there, but they've given basically the community kind of a grace period to get in compliance, and that's going to take over here like April 10th to go in, and they're going to start checking. If you got dogs chained up and stuff, they will start hitting you with the letters and all that stuff. But anyway, we had a great conversation. I'm just talking about what's in store, why they're doing it, and everything else. Right. So, and then in the 9 o'clock hour, about 9:15, we'll have the folks from the district attorney's office from the 5th Judicial District. Nice. I'm not sure which will join us. I don't know if it'd be Diana or one of the assistant DAs or Justin, or of course we could talk dogs as well too with Gina. So we're all the above. So we'll talk with the DA's office here in 9 o'clock hour this morning. And then, of course, we'll have all of your features, including the news of the local and national variety. I'm pleased to report no red flag warnings, high wind warnings, dust warnings, brown warnings, whatever other warnings they give you. We don't have any of those today. So.
Warning, nice day.
Warning, there is no warnings. All right, 7:16. Speaking of warnings, here's your warning-free weather with an actual. Let's see if it's Dan or if Steve's back in the captain's chair. I don't know. Let's find out together, shall we?
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have high pressure settling in over the southwestern states for a while, so we're in pretty good shape. Mid-60s for the afternoon high today, just a little breezy, and we should get sunshine. It'll be clear for the overnight hours, low to mid-30s, and then lots of sun on Friday, warming up a little bit. We're back in the mid and upper 70s. We're expecting 80s and sunshine through the upcoming weekend. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. It's Steve. Currently 27 here in Roswell. Humidity is at 46%. Winds currently out of the south at 3, count 'em, trace miles per hour. Not 30. So much nicer. Sunny today, 65 for a high. South winds 5 to 10 this morning. They will pick up 15 to 20 this afternoon. So this week, that's just breezy. Mostly clear tonight with an overnight low of 31 degrees. South winds 15 to 20, dropping down 5 to 10 after midnight. Tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful day, a perfect day, I would argue. Sunny skies, 78 for a high. Southwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. They'll later shift to the northwest. So, beautiful day tomorrow. Friday night, clear, overnight low of 36. Southwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, sunny and a high of 83. Winds will be out of the northwest, 5 to 10 early, 15 to 20 for Saturday afternoon. Partly cloudy Saturday night, overnight low of 46. Mostly sunny and 79 on Sunday, and we'll be hanging out in the 80s at least through the first half of next week. 81 on Monday, 85 Tuesday, 83 on Wednesday. All right, 7:18. We're going to take about a 3.5-minute break, and then we'll play our interview we had with Gary Thrine from the Roswell Chamber. He joined us yesterday in the 9 o'clock hour. So that's up next. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
It's Truck Month here at Richland CDGR, 1309 Southeast Main Street in Roswell. Come by and take a look at our blowout prices on all new Ram trucks, Jeep Gladiators, and Jeep Wranglers. We have trucks up to $12,000 off MSRP, Gladiators up to 15% off MSRP, and even some of our Jeeps 10% off MSRP. The time to get into your new truck is now. At Richland CDGR, we believe buying a vehicle should be an experience and not a hassle. With honesty and upfront pricing, you can relax and enjoy your experience here at Richland CDGR, located at 1309 Southeast Main, Roswell. Oh yes, hablamos español.
Time to move on into the Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop in Roswell. Spring fabrics are here and summer fabrics are arriving daily with a great selection of quilts, shirts, and rope bowls made right here at the Calico Cow, and great spring deals on Brothers sewing machines. They're on sale now. Plus, the Calico Cow can fix and perform maintenance on all brands. Out of town? Log on to RoswellQuilting.com to order. The Cow ships direct. The Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop, 200 East College in Roswell. Want to know how? Come see the cow.
Springtime is coming quickly, and that means it's time for the Spring Open House for high school students and their parents at Eastern New Mexico University. Join us Saturday, March 22nd, as we welcome potential students and their family members to campus. ENMU will feature campus tours, opportunities to meet with current students and professors, information on scholarships, and chances to win great prizes. Sign up today at enmu.edu/open house. Eastern New Mexico University. Student success. That's what we're about.
The Roswell Symphony Orchestra presents Kinderman Plays Beethoven, Saturday, May 3rd, 7:30 p.m. at Pearson Auditorium in Roswell. William Kinderman returns to Roswell to perform Beethoven's Piano Concerto No. 5 Emperor, along with works by Weber, Dvorak, and Richard Strauss. Tickets are on sale now at roswellsymphony.org or by calling 575-623-5882. Kinderman Plays Beethoven, Saturday, May 3rd, 7:30 p.m. at Pearson Auditorium in Roswell. Sponsored in part by Dr. John and Mrs. Deanne Kaysen and the Roswell Lodgers Tax.
The ultimate Wi-Fi experience is now available to you thanks to Smart Home Wi-Fi with Plateau. Get fiber-to-home technology 100 times faster than average household internet speed. Plateau has multiple plans and options to fit your family. With Fast, get true 100 megs per second download and upload speed. With Faster, get true 500 megs of download and upload speeds. And with Fastest, you get 1 gig. Learn more at plateautel.com. Get the speed you need with Plateau. Tried, true, trusted.
Since the beginning of time, people have pondered the meaning of life. From philosophers to writers, even kings, this question has been asked time and time again. Solomon, the author of the book of Ecclesiastes, was no different. Chosen by God to lead the people of Israel and blessed with wisdom, wealth, and honor, he set out to understand the true meaning of life. In his writings, he reflects on the fleeting nature of earthly pursuits. Despite possessing everything the world could offer, he discovers that without a deeper purpose, all of it felt like vanity, or, in other words, chasing after the wind. Solomon concludes that life's meaning is not found in wealth, pleasure, or status, but in fearing God and keeping his commandments. Because while earthly pursuits are temporary, true fulfillment is found in devotion to God and living in alignment with his will. In essence, the purpose of life is found in living a life of purpose, centered on God's divine plan.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Your fingernails grow faster on your dominant hand. Not sure which is your dominant hand? Just wait. You'll nail it. Here's Mike Winters.
Joining us. Good morning. It is 20 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from the Roswell Chamber of Commerce, Gary Thrine, back with us. Good morning, Gary.
Morning. Always great. And I had to hold on to my hat walking over from the chamber this morning.
I was about to say, your hat is one of those hats that loves to fly away in the wind.
Exactly. So I'm carrying my coffee in one hand and holding on to my hat with the other hand.
The brim is amazing in the sun and a cool fashion statement, but it is not your friend in the wind.
Right.
Yeah, got to get a chin strap for that one for today. But for folks not familiar, of course, Gary's the membership coordinator with the chamber here, and he's the guy that, you'll see if your business is looking to be a part of the chamber. Gary's the guy you want to talk to here. And before we talk about that, we do really want to focus on our big event coming up here, and that is the annual Rise Over Roswell event, which, it's for the ranchers and farmers. That's why it's at 6 a.m. But we got all that coming up here, right, Gary? Yeah.
Next Thursday, not this Thursday.
1 week from
next
tomorrow.
Thursday.
I was trying to think, is it tomorrow or next Thursday? I get in my head, I get weeks, I get all tore up in my head.
Doors open at 6 a.m. My red coats will be out there to greet you as you come in the door. And the food is being catered by Golden Corral.
Yeah, once again, they're doing an amazing job of giving, because, and these are farm boys, so we have farm breakfast, eggs, bacon, biscuits, gravy, the breakfast staples around here.
Exactly. The good stick to your ribs.
Yeah, stuff that gets more farm work done. But and it'll be once again at the Eastern New Mexico State Fairgrounds in the Hobson Hall there.
Right.
Just like it's been for the last year or two here. I know a couple years here. I think it was the new building for the first time, but now it's got a name. It's Hobson Hall.
Right. Hobson Building.
Yeah.
And we will be finished up in time for everybody to get to work by 8 o'clock.
Yeah, you're done by 8. It's why it starts at like 6 a.m, but you're done by 8, so you can either play hooky or start your work day afterwards, depending on,
And we
Your
have and we have Michelle the Farm Babe.
Yes, she's
is
going to be
our guest speaker. And I'm not going to read the whole bio, but apparently around 2014, she had gone from being a big city globetrotter to getting back to her farming roots. And she is kind of a social media advocacy platform and trying to educate folks on the farming life, farm life.
Sure.
I know back east where I grew up, it's farms. Out here, it's ranches, and so that's a learning curve that I had to go through. But she is apparently a very spunky lady, and looking forward to a nice conversation with her.
Sounds like she's that Sherpa to explain farm and ranch life to people that think that your steaks come from the grocery store.
Exactly. But we still have some seats left, a few seats. So if you're thinking about joining us, give us a call.
Excellent.
If you need a table, there's 8 seats to a table. So if you need
have a table,
full table,
can you get a table left?
We have a couple tables left.
A lot of times companies or business like buy a table for their employees or staff, family, whomever.
Right,
so
and we still have room for onesie twosies to come out. Tickets are $40.
Yeah,
just call us here at the chamber and or come see us, and we'll get you all squared away.
Absolutely. I know a lot of our farm and ranch community, dairies and so forth, like they'll buy tables and things. So if you guys haven't done that yet, might want to get a hold of Gary here pretty quickly and get that locked in.
You do not want to miss out on that good chow and a great
she's
presentation.
a great guest speaker. She's very like you go look her up online and you can watch some videos of her and learn. Like you said, she's a social media person, so you can check out her social media and learn a little bit more about her.
She's gone from working on for Gucci on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills to a few years in downtown Chicago, and she bought into the organic grass-fed Monsanto is devil food idealism, and she at age 30 she had visited 68 countries. Wow. And became fascinated with the culture and learning where our food comes from. And so she's going to tell us all about her journey and where it led her to promoting the farm life.
I would imagine with her vast, just traveling the world and seeing what you see when you see the world, she's probably got a lot of stories to tell.
Exactly. And those of us that have been in the military, we can relate to that very well.
You know what? You want to be a good storyteller, go see the world. Go experience things. That's how you become a good storyteller. Because you're going to do, and the things that turn out bad, they make great stories later.
Exactly. Spending the night on top of Mount Sinai, but we'll talk about that another day.
Funny story about the pants. But again, that is 1 week from tomorrow, next Thursday, out at the Eastern New Mexico State Fairgrounds at 0600. Right. RSVP this week. Get your last minute seats, tickets, and everything else.
Yeah, we need to know by Friday. So we can make sure we have plenty of food on hand.
Yes, we don't want to
let Milby know
we don't
exactly
want
how many,
be like, we need
how many
another
folks
pan
we're
of
planning on. We do not sell tickets at the door, so you do need to contact us and let us know.
Yep, this is a pre-order only, pre-register, pre-sign up for this event. Unfortunately, now if you roll in on next Thursday, maybe we'll let you sit and hear the speech or something. But food will be accommodated for. If you want to eat, you want to participate in the full event, RSVP by the end of the week here by Friday.
Exactly.
Good deal. I know there's a couple other things we want to put on people's radar. I'll let you kind of steer the ship on that one.
Well, again, we do still have the partnership with Lunar Cal. We're still working on the map, and
the digital map, and
so we still have some
map.
ad spots left, and so you definitely want to be on that map. We've got a lot of requests coming in for maps.
Are they still kind of going around town, or people pretty much come to them?
They're contacting by email and phone. But
so if you get email or electric correspondence with Lunical, and they claim that they are partnering or working with the chamber, that is legitimate.
That is legitimate, and you definitely want to be on that hard copy of the map with the. Rah coming in and maps are going out the door quickly.
And this is kind of this old meets new technology here, where it's if you know the way of the world, people come to town to visit, they'll stop at the chamber or visitor center and pick up like one of these maps that kind of have businesses and everything. It's usually a paper map that now they do that still. That's still there. But here's the cool part. It's now into modern era. It's also a digital app that you can download for free and everything else. So when you're in town, and this, because it's digital, means it's fluid. It can change. So if you've got specials or advertising things, you want to say you're on the map and you're saying you're a restaurant or something. Hey, don't forget it's Cheeseburger Tuesday or whatever it is, and you come do whatever it is you're doing. You could promote that through the app, whereas obviously on a piece of paper you can't do those kind of things. So it kind of has the best of both worlds. If you have people coming in town that don't mess with apps, don't mess with phones, but they sure like a map on a piece of paper, guess what? We got you covered. But if they're like the way of the world, and anybody that's not under 40 wants to do now, they want it done on their phone. They want it done, something they can push a button and easily find what they're looking for.
Set up an itinerary and all that good stuff.
And this has all of that capabilities and stuff too. So if you want to utilize that as part of your business, especially a small business that, this is a unique marketing way to promote your business that once you talk to them, you find out it's probably rather inexpensive and things like that.
Right.
Too.
And Lunar Cow will explain all that to you, and they'll explain
I'll let them
how
do the sales pitch, but it could be a good benefit for your business if you hear them out at least.
Right. And they can explain how once you get your obviously on the paper copy, that ad is not going to change, but the digital version, you're going to be able to make updates and changes on that. And Lunar Cow will work with you on that to make sure that everything's all updated.
And so it could be a great tool if you're trying to, have a certain event to spotlight your business. You can use that as a tool for that. And then people that kind of utilize these things on a daily basis will, they're having a shindig at so-and-so tonight. We got to be there for that, and that's a great tool to do that. Right. So.
And they are members also of the chamber, so you can go to the member directory and check them out, or you can go to the lunarcow.com and check them out when they contact you. But they are legitimate, and they are helping us create an updated map.
And if you don't get any correspondence from them and you want more, definitely reach out to the chamber. We can make that connection for you.
Absolutely.
Good deal. What else we want to mention there, Gary?
Well, this has been a busy month so far, membership-wise. We've had 5 new members come on board. We have awesome. Gyro Studios. They're a film company.
Okay.
And recently they did a video for the city of Artesia. And so they...
Do they use a certain gyro-style camera? Is that why they call it gyro?
I don't know what the reason is behind Gyro Studios.
But I think like in the industry, there's a certain camera, and it's like movement and all. Like the gyro part masks all that. So it's I think it's something to that effect.
See, I would have gone the other way with the food aspect.
Yeah. Well, I think with the movie, if they make movies and things, I think it's like the type of camera that you can use where it's filmmaking cameras are way different than, your iPhone.
Right.
and so in that world, those cameras can get $100,000 for one of those. And so it's something along that technology. That's why they're there. But I have no idea. I'm just guessing.
So if you see folks videotaping around town, that's who you're going to be seeing.
Awesome. Good deal. So, but they are welcome to the chamber.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we have Permian Road Safety Coalition. They're a nonprofit organization, and they're focused on road safety.
Very good.
And so we're glad to have them on board. And we have a new teen and adult rehab called the Adult and Teen Challenge of New Mexico.
Very good.
And so they're providing assistance to adults and teens.
Very good.
We've had from Artesia, we've got Oasis Women's Services, and that's pregnancy support.
Okay.
Pregnancy support.
Pregnancy Health Center kind of deal, and finding resources for mothers that are about to be mothers.
Exactly. And we have Accelergen Energy, and they are in commercial solar energy.
Okay.
Sorry, they don't do residential. I did ask that, but they do strictly commercial.
Gotcha.
And so they wanted to be available to all the folks that have commercial buildings here in the area.
Any businesses in town looking for some alternative energy options, they might be able to help you out there.
Absolutely. And we've got some other folks in the works, so it's going to be an exciting end to the month, and we're looking forward to it. Again, also, all of you new members, if you think you might want to be a red coat and assist in promoting your business as a red coat,
absolutely
representing them, then
I always call it the classiest part of the Roswell Chamber of Commerce is our red coats. They're the class of the organization.
and we've got some ribbon cuttings that are going to be in the works here. I can't give you dates right now, but we have some stuff going on. And so the red coats, we just did on the 8th of March, we did the 10-year anniversary / grand reopening of the audiology office there on the corner of 4th and Union.
Nice.
And that went really well. They had some, cute little dancers come out and do their. I can't think of the name of what their. It
was a folklorico.
It's like not like it's mariachi music.
Okay,
but they're out there
dancing.
Have
the big dresses and everything.
Oh yes,
I think it might be folklorico.
Okay, well they were just adorable.
Yeah,
and
that's usually the big.
And those kids had
kind of that mariachi style music with the big dresses and the big flowing moves and all. Yeah, that's usually folklorico.
Yeah, and
beautiful stuff if you ever see it. Yeah.
Both the little boys and little girls, they were just looking so high speed and all dressed up, and they obviously had spent many hours practicing those dances.
Oh yeah,
and
it's almost it's tradition. It's very. As much as it's pageantry and enjoy it, it's family history and I would even maybe draw comparisons to some like native culture and their dances and things and how it means.
Okay,
so folklorico does get into that a little bit, I think. So, but yeah, it's steeped in tradition and it's beautiful and yeah, if you ever anytime you get to see a folklorico thing, sign up and do it. It's I guarantee it's always just the colors, the dancing. It's really cool. Something
right. It was a little chilly. It was a little windy, but we did not have the rain that day that was predicted.
So we'll call it a win.
Exactly, we'll call that a win. So and tremendous turnout for that ribbon cutting.
Good.
So
like I said, their 10-year anniversary. They're steeped in. They've built a base, and I'm sure family and friends were anxious to come and celebrate.
Exactly, and they had a really good turnout. So again, we love to do ribbon cuttings. If you've got an anniversary coming up. It doesn't have to be a 5-year or 10-year or 15-year. If you want to have a 3-year anniversry or
maybe
a 7-year anniversary,
maybe did a renovation or a remodel,
exactly,
or just saying, hey, we're here and come if you haven't been in a while, come see us.
Exactly.
Doesn't have to be a reason per se, just because you want one.
Exactly. And the Redcoats do love
sure
and promoting the companies that they work for, and so.
Like I always, I always mention the thing of the class, but again, that's a Roswell tradition. Like you're here in town, and I don't care if you spend any kind of time in town. You see a bunch of people in the red coats coming together. There's a grand opening event or some kind of shindig that's going on over there, and they really are the ambassadors. They're the ones that like when you come to a business after hours. 9 times out of 10, the first person you're gonna meet is a red coat,
right? Because we're the door greeters, greeting everybody as they're coming in and handing out those little coupons for the door prizes,
and just keeping things flowing, keeping everything going, and just kind of setting the pace and the tone, and really leading by example. That's kind of what our red coats are at the end of the day. They're the ones they're the ambassadors, they're the welcomers, and they're our pride and joy of the chamber, and so. If you'd love to volunteer or be a part of that, they're always looking for new friends to be a part of that. I know there's been times where they could use a bit more testosterone over there.
Right.
There's times where Gary's the only guy over there. Now, don't get me wrong. We love all of our ladies, but sometimes, we could use a few fellas to come join and hang out with us too.
Right.
So don't think it's just for the ladies. If you... look good in a red coat. We love that. Just kidding,
right?
but yeah, if you just love talking to people, meeting people, and just being a good steward of our city, then guess what? You would be a perfect red coat.
Right. We even at that ribbon cutting, we even had one of the board of directors from the Alamogordo Chamber of Commerce was there, and he was like. You guys are awesome. We need to be able to do this in Alamogordo. And I said, just give me a call and I'll square you away.
So we're always looking for new folks to be. And if you're looking for a place to meet new people and kind of if you're trying to expand your social circles a little bit, Red Coat is a perfect situation. And the cool part is we get enough Red Coats where we can have teams so you don't have to work every single event. I get it. You have a life yourself, and you don't want to be at everything every day. It's like, man, I got 37 red coat events this week. No, we got teams to kind of break that down so you're not, at everything every time.
Right, exactly.
Unless you want to be, then we'll make that happen too.
Absolutely. I have an extra red coat show up at an event. I'm not going to turn you away.
Exactly. Yeah, but they do work it out so that we're not taking too much of your time.
Exactly.
You can still enjoy your grandkids or your own life, what you're wanting to do when you're not out doing this stuff.
Right. Yeah. And again, if you are an existing business here in town and you are not a member of the chamber, don't hesitate to come by and see me or give me a holler or message me on.
Especially with the way Roswell's about to get booming more here with those Reno air races, the national championship air races. I gotta stop saying Reno air races. National championship air races. It's gonna draw a lot of new people, a lot of different eyeballs to this community, and the chamber can help your business get in those eyeballs.
Right.
Help you get, and I've got to be honest, we need everybody. We need our big corporates and everything else. But if you are a small business that doesn't have an HR department, that doesn't have a marketing department, that doesn't have, you got your storefront and a couple of you, maybe you and one or two employees or whatever. If that's then you need to be talking to the chamber to help, because I get it. You don't have $1,000 budget for marketing. You don't. The chamber can take your minor marketing budget and make it go a lot farther.
Exactly.
Get in eyeballs where you could have not done that with the amount of money you paid.
Right.
Is what I'm
exactly.
saying. You get a bigger response with the little, and I get it. I'm a marketing guy. This is what I do. I talk on the radio all day, but I make commercials. I'm probably know more about marketing than I want to know about.
Right.
And I know that as a small business, you want to do everything you can do to get your name out there and get your face in the picture. And I get it. The traditional ways to do that are very expensive.
Let me assist you with that.
But through social media, through our Luna cows, through these different platforms that we have partnered and worked with, we can get you out there at a very economical cost and get your name. So when we got these new people and they come looking for a place to get their Mexican food or get their trinkets or see, oh, I love, alien gear. Where can I get mine at? You're on their map now. And that's what we can help you do. So please reach out to Gary and let's see how, and it's various levels. If you're a big business or a little business, we customize it to you, and because your needs are different. Corporate businesses and things, they're not generally necessarily trying to put butts in seats and things. They're trying to establish their image in the community, be a part of the community. So if you're a major corporation coming to town, we can help you do that. When you got your McDonald's and your Levi's or what I mean, nationally unknown brands come in, they're what they're looking for is going to be different than what mom and pop who just started their 5 and dime store down the corner is looking for. And that's where the chamber works best, because if you're big budget, big thing, we can help you get connected, plugged in, be a part of the community, showing that your presence here is a benefit to us. We can help you do that, and vice versa, or conversely with little folks that don't have 2 nickels to rub together, but got to tell everybody about their business so they can get 2 nickels to rub together. We can help you do that.
Right.
So please talk to Gary about that.
Absolutely. And it's roswellnm.org.
Yep.
The word Roswell spelled out. The abbreviation for New Mexico, so roswellnm.org.
Yeah.
Have a little join button up in the other right-hand corner. Click on that, and that'll open up the membership benefits page. Also has all of my information, my email, my full name, and my membership cell phone is right there, 575-626-4008.
Yeah.
That's the best way to reach me,
Yeah.
and I've always got that with me, and so give me a holler.
And, of course, as you mentioned, when Gary was introducing some of the new members to the chamber, nonprofits are a part of that as well. We have a new nonprofit, like you said, that was part of that here with this highway safety stuff. Just because you're not a for-profit business does not mean the chamber can't help you too.
Exactly.
We have many nonprofits that are also. It's all about networking. Everything it's putting, and to be honest, a lot of times there's a lot of our profit businesses that want to partner with nonprofits and are looking for places to say, hey, we want to give back. what's some good things. And yeah, we got several nonprofits that are members that would probably love to hear from you on that. Let me put you in touch with them.
Exactly.
That's the kind of work we do there. So please, nonprofit, for profit, if you're trying to do commerce in Chavez County, whether you're in Chavez County or not, the Roswell Chamber of Commerce can help you do that. So
that's why I have that remote membership program. That way, if you don't have an actual foothold in Roswell, but want to have a footprint, then we have a remote membership program for you to be able to be part of our chamber and be able to network and get involved in the community without actually having to physically be here.
Be plugged in just like you're here.
Exactly.
Good deal. Well, Gary, batten down the hat on your way back to the office here.
Exactly.
and safe travels as you go out and about around. I'm sure because you're probably knocking on a few doors here later today. So,
exactly.
So safe travels there, and we'll see you here in a couple weeks.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
And don't forget, Rise Over Roswell, 1 week from tomorrow, 6 a.m. at the Fairgrounds in Hobson Hall. Deadline is by close of business this Friday to get registered for this year's Rise Over Roswell. Come by and talk to Gary or go to our website and get signed up here. So good deal.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
All right, 9:43. Let's pause for news. Hannity.
I'm Jared Sorello, the United Way of Eddy County, providing Community Impact Awards to 16 participating agencies. Thanks to the generosity of Eddy County residents, the United Way increased its total allocation by 10% this year. Participating agencies selected include the Community of Hope, Artesia Literacy Council, Eddy County CASA, the Grammys House, Lifehouse Inc., Permian Basin Counseling, Haven of Hope. Also, Oasis Women's Services, the Southeast New Mexico Community Action Corporation, Affirming Heart Foundry Home, the Boys and Girls Club of Carlsbad, Carlsbad Battered Family Shelter, the Carlsbad Literacy Program, Carlsbad Main Street, and Carlsbad Transitional Housing. A community rebuild and repair expo for those impacted by the October flooding event is scheduled for April 5th. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at ENMU Roswell. For residents, they'll be able to take the first steps to finding and hiring a contractor for rebuilding, repairing, and flood cleanup. They can also meet qualified contractors who are ready to get to work and get help from disaster case managers. Contractor participation is free, and the event is free and open to the public. There will also be food trucks. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello reporting.
Porch pirates stole more than $12 billion worth of stuff last year. That's a whole lot of crime happening right outside your front door. I'm Kim Commando for Endpoint Lock. Stop keyloggers in their tracks with Endpoint Lock. Go to endpointlock.com/Kim for 10% off. Let's talk about setting up your video doorbell the right way. Most people get it wrong. Mount it too high, and congrats, you've got a great shot of the porch pirate's bald spot. Too low, a picture of his feet. Unfortunately, most of you place it too high. Luckily, I know the sweet spot to mount your video doorbell. It's 48 inches from the ground. That's right, 4 feet. It might seem low, but here's the deal. Most video doorbells see everything with a wide 180-degree view, up and down and all around. Plus, its motion sensors detect heat of anything moving to notify you if anyone or anything comes your way. This includes cars, dogs, and of course people. Any higher, you're more likely to get an alert from the sun than an actual intruder. Hey, sign up for my free newsletter at getkim.com. I'm always looking for ways to keep you safe on your devices. Did you know that there's malware out there that records every single thing that you type? It's called a keylogger, and it's one of the sneakiest ways that hackers steal passwords, credit card numbers, and private info. Scary, right? That's where Endpoint Lock comes in. Think of it like a secret vault for your keyboard. It encrypts or scrambles every keystroke that you type. Even if a hacker is trying to spy on you, all they'll see is uncrackable gibberish. It works quietly in the background on your devices, protecting you every time you log into your bank, shop online, or send a private email. Keyloggers are more common than you might think, but with Endpoint Lock, they don't stand a chance. Go to endpointlock.com/Kim. They're offering an exclusive deal just for my listeners. Get 10% off a monthly or yearly subscription using code KIM10. That's endpointlock.com/Kim using code KIM10 for 10% off a monthly or a yearly plan. Endpointlock.com/Kim, endpointlock.com/Kim.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have high pressure settling in over the southwestern states for a while, so we're in pretty good shape. Mid-60s for the afternoon high today, just a little breezy, and we should get sunshine. It'll be clear for the overnight hours, low to mid-30s, and then lots of sun on Friday, warming up a little bit. We're back in the mid and upper 70s. We're expecting 80s and sunshine through the upcoming weekend. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
It's time for the Chaves County Sports Report. We got some baseball and softball action going on today, and a lot of it is in Artesia. So let's start there, where the Goddard baseball team and the Roswell Coyotes are a part of the same Artesia Invitational. Goddard starts the festivities this morning at 10 a.m. against Alamogordo, which is already 7-1 on the season. Goddard is 2-3. Roswell, later in the day at 4 o'clock, will take on Los Alamos. Roswell is 2-6. Last game was a one-run loss to Clovis on Saturday. Meanwhile, the softball tournament in Artesia, that's happening too. And Goddard will be playing against Bernalillo at 2 o'clock. The Lady Rockets 5-3. Bernalillo is 3-1. And the Lindsay Callaway softball tournament, the annual tournament in Dexter, begins today for the host Demons. It's a game against Hatch Valley starting at 6. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. The Federal Reserve kept its benchmark interest rate unchanged Wednesday and signaled that it still expects to cut rates twice this year, though it said the outlook is more uncertain. It also expects the unemployment rate to tick higher to 4.4% by the end of this year. Fires, bullets, and Molotov cocktails, all aimed at Tesla. Attacks on property carrying the logo of the Elon Musk electric car company are cropping up across the U.S. and overseas. There's been a clear uptick since President Donald Trump took office and empowered Musk to oversee the new Department of Government Efficiency. The White House has forced Amtrak CEO Stephen Gardner to step down as head of the passenger railroad. Gardner said on Wednesday he will resign immediately. General Mills is looking for ways to cut $100 million in costs following a lackluster winter quarter. General Mills said consumers have shifted away from discretionary spending on snacks as they face an uncertain economy. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
Some wounds need expert care to heal properly. At Artesia General Hospital's Wound Care and Hyperbaric Medicine Center, we use advanced treatments like hyperbaric oxygen therapy to help chronic wounds heal faster. If you or a loved one has a wound that won't heal, call 575-736-8235 today and take the first step toward recovery.
Edge Safety and Services LLC in Artesia, New Mexico has an immediate opening for a safety technician. Position requires a clean driving record and must be able to pass a drug and alcohol screen. Edge Safety offers great pay with IRA benefits and employer contribution towards health benefits. Please email resumes to edgecoding@yahoo.com or apply in person at 402 West Main Street inside the Edge Safety and Services facility. Edge Safety and Services LLC is an equal opportunity employer.
Wakefield Oil Company is a name you can rely on with full service at the pump the way it used to be. You can expect service in just 15 seconds. They offer bulk fuel and oil services and even diesel exhaust fluid. Wakefield Oil Company will deliver to farms, ranches, dairies, the oil fields, and more with dependable service you can count on. So the next time you need service or delivery, go with the name that locals have trusted since 1983. Wakefield Oil Company, 311 South Virginia in Roswell. Let them earn your business.
Maybe your AC unit needs a little tender loving care. If you don't know where to turn, then you don't know Jack. In fact, they're downright funky. Let the boys at Fergie's Plumbing and Heating get your AC unit ice cold, just like some of my lady friends. Don't let any fool make you lose your cool. Fergie's Plumbing and Heating. If you don't know Fergie, then you don't know Jack. 632-2660.
Renting your tuxedo has never been easier. At Hippie Chicks, we have name brands like Michael Kors, Kenneth Cole, Couture, Allurement, and Mod, all in ultra slim and slim fit styles to flatter every shape and size. Stay cool and comfortable with Performance Stretch and Cool Max technology, because men's formal wear should feel as good as it looks. And renting is easy for prom, graduation, and your end of school parties. Just choose your style, try it on, and return it hassle-free. And right now, order before April 1st for your chance to win $100 cash.
Chicks.
Visit Hippie Chicks today, 802 South Main in Roswell. Look for the VW Bug.
Hi, I'm Chef Anthony Noble at the Valley Cafe located at 801 West Brasher in Roswell. We want to welcome you for dinner 5 to 8 p.m. weekdays, except Wednesday we close at 2 p.m. If you haven't tried our food yet, I hope you come try one of our dinner entrees, pasta, soups, salads, burgers, and sandwiches, and our weekly specials as well. Let me make you great dinner. Visit the Valley Cafe at 801 West Brasher, the Orange Building across from Church on the Move in Roswell.
Can't see us in person? Find our full menu on DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats.
The Roswell Symphony Orchestra presents Kinderman Plays Beethoven, Saturday, May 3rd, 7:30 p.m. at Pearson Auditorium in Roswell. William Kinderman returns to Roswell to perform Beethoven's Piano Concerto No. 5 Emperor, along with works by Weber, Dvorak, and Richard Strauss. Tickets are on sale now at roswellsymphony.org or by calling 575-623-5882. Kinderman Plays Beethoven, Saturday, May 3rd, 7:30 p.m. at Pearson Auditorium in Roswell. Sponsored in part by Dr. John and Mrs. Deanne Kaysen and the Roswell Lodgers Tax.
The average American spends 2.5 days a year looking for lost items. We aren't sure how long Europeans and Asians look for lost stuff. We lost the list. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 7:50, closing in on 7:56. Stay tuned next hour. We're going to replay our interview we had with City Councilor Juliana Halverson. Sorry about that. And also we had from Animal Control, Chantel and Shaylin. They are the Animal Control Director and Kennel Coordinator, respectively. And, of course, the city passed a new ordinance about animals back in December, and there's been a grace period on things like you can't chain your dogs up in the backyard anymore. That's for extended periods of time, anything like that. So, anyway, they're going to start enforcing these new ordinances here beginning like April 10th. So we had a great conversation just talking about why they're doing this and what's going to happen. So we're going to play that for you next hour. Hey, Camp Invention. Of course, we've had Peggy Boland join us on the radio for years talking about Camp Invention. Well, Camp Invention for this year is coming up. It will be, as always, that first week of June 2nd through June 6th. Back again this year at All Saints Catholic School, and this is for kids entering kindergarten through 6th grade. And it's a great camp if you never heard it. It's really STEAM. It's STEM, but it's more STEAM because they get a lot of arts in there too. And they do 4 different modules each week. And like I said, it's and all the kids, regardless if they're kindergartners or 5th grade, they'll be doing the same projects just at different levels at grade appropriate levels. However, there is a discount code to save $25 on the camp, but today is the last day to take advantage of this code. So you can save $25 when you use the code FUN25, but today is the last day that's going to be active. It's no good after March 20th. So log on to invent.org/camp. Again, invent.org/camp. And then you'll see it's Camp Invention. This is through the Inventors Hall of Fame. So it's their website there. And then you'll see a link that says find a camp near you. Click that, type in Roswell, New Mexico, or 88201, something that kind of gives us a locator in there. And you'll see that the camp pop up. You click on that, and you can register for camp there, read all the information about the different modules for this week. But like I said, then there'll be a spot where you can enter offer code, and that's FUN25. But you got to do it today to take advantage of this one because it's no good after today. However, locally, Peggy does offer partial scholarships. So if you're like, I'd love to take my child to camp, but I can't afford the fee, which, by the way, it is, where's the total cost here? I apologize. I know it's right here. I'm not seeing it. It's around $2-something. I don't know off the top of my head. It's here. I just got to find it. $290 before the discount there. However, if 25 is not enough, call Peggy Boland direct. We've got folks that have donated money for scholarships. She's not going to give a full free camp. She does want campers having some skin in the game a little bit here. But they can really help you out with it. They don't want money to be the reason why. Now, they are limiting the camp to, I think it's 75 this year. So sign up early. Don't wait till later. You don't get all the good deals, but camp's going to fill up this year quick. So, but call Peggy Boland direct if you need more information or if you need a partial scholarship. 575-420-9955. 575-420-9955. And again, if you're like, no, I just like to get my camp, but I can save $25. Go to event.org/camp, register today, and put in that Fun 25 code. But you got to get it done before today. But after today's over, it's no good. All right, you're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND Roswell, New Mexico. Time for news. We'll be back on the other side of news. Don't go away.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. The Department of Education's days may be numbered. President Trump signs an executive order today closing the agency, though the president's order expected to be challenged on constitutional grounds.
Finalizing its dismantling is likely impossible without an act of Congress, which created the department in 1979. Still, the Trump administration has already been gutting the agency, slashing its workforce in half and making deep cuts to the Office for Civil Rights and the Institute of Education Sciences, which gathers data on the nation's academic progress. A White House fact sheet says the order would direct Secretary Linda McMahon to return education authority to the states. Ben Thomas, Washington.
More talks on ending the Russia-Ukraine war are on tap in the coming days following high-level phone calls this week.
President Trump spoke separately with Russia's Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky, with the parties agreeing to a limited ceasefire. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says more talks are scheduled.
Technical teams will meet in Saudi Arabia in the coming days to discuss broadening the ceasefire to the Black Sea on the way to a full ceasefire.
She said Presidents Trump and Zelensky agreed this could be the first step toward the full end of the war. Greg Kleibston, the White House.
Israel's military continues hammering away at Gaza, determined to wipe out Hamas.
Israel has said its airstrikes targeted Hamas commanders. Its defense minister has since threatened the residents of Gaza with what he calls total devastation if they do not remove the group from power and return the remaining hostages.
The BBC's Tom Bateman. Slightly more Americans applied for unemployment last week. The jobless claims rose 2,000 to 223,000 for the week ending March 15th. On Wall Street this morning, the Dow is up 46 points, NASDAQ ahead 36. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
The International Olympic Committee selects its new president today.
There are 7 candidates for the election, all of them IOC members, but it seems to be shaping into an election between 3 strong candidates. Juan Antonio Samaranch, whose father was a long-time president more than 20 years ago, and 2 former Olympic champions, the track and field president Sebastian Coe and the Zimbabwe sports minister Kirsty Coventry, who is an Olympic champion swimmer.
Correspondent Graham Dunbar. A French citizen imprisoned in Iran for more than 880 days has been freed, according to French officials. The release of Olivier Grundu comes as France and the rest of Europe try to pursue negotiations with Iran over its rapidly expanding nuclear program. President Trump, meanwhile, has sent his own letter to Iran's supreme leader, hoping to jumpstart talks. Mr. Trump also pressuring Tehran over its support of Yemen's Houthi rebels. News and analysis at townhall.com. North Carolina's Democratic Governor Josh Stein calling on the Republican-led state legislature to roll back upcoming income tax cuts. He also wants a scaling back of private school vouchers.
The Democrat made the comments while releasing his first 2-year state government budget proposal Wednesday.
Stein wants to freeze the current individual and income tax rates. He says not doing so will lead to large revenue shortfalls soon. GOP legislators have embraced recurring tax cuts for all wage earners and taxpayer-funded scholarships for K through 12 students. Republicans may have to consider Stein's views more because they're one seat shy of a veto-proof majority. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Hawaii's most active volcano simply will not go back to sleep. Kilauea is again erupting after a week-long pause. The U.S. Geological Survey says Kilauea started continuously releasing lava at 9:26 yesterday morning, but no residential areas are threatened. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
The deuce.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Thursday.
Indeed. Welcome to it.
Yeah, I hope it's going well for you. I've got the weekend upon us soon.
Almost. Pert near.
Yeah, put it this way, you're thinking about the weekend.
But
what do we got on tap?
It is the sad weekend for a lot of people because it's the back half of spring break and, you know, it's back to normalcy on Monday.
Sad would be perspective. Here's a few parents going, sad? No. This is a Monday I look forward to.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Back to day drinking.
That's right. It's like my weekend starts Monday.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, you know, and I understand that there's, you know, it's hard to find things for kids to do to keep them active, keep them from the old inevitable, I'm bored.
Well, this is kind of, listen to the show. I'm just saying. Right. I mean, we got like the library. There's 100 things going on over there.
There
usually
it is.
During spring break. Usually they have special activities usually at the library and rec center, things like that, just during spring break, just to give kids that have more free time this week things to do.
Yeah.
Boys and Girls Club, things like that. Do more stuff.
It is sad, though, when you find yourself becoming your father or becoming one of your parents. Just because I find myself, whenever I hear my kids say I'm bored, immediately I'm like, well, let's find a chore for you to do.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Let's find something you don't want to do.
That's exactly what our parents said. You never tell your parents you're bored.
Go clean something.
Because the moment you say that, like, well, the grass needs cut, or the trash needs taken out, or something needs painting. Or some railroad ties need to be removed for no reason.
I need you to move this dirt over here.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. So, we learned. You only tell your parents you're bored once.
Right.
And then that happens. But yeah, now we're in the brain of, like, I'll never forget, and this line sticks to me to the day I die. And this is when I worked in the meat room for a minute there, and I'm literally I never made candles professionally, but I'm literally was a butcher, a baker.
This close.
Yeah, I baked bagels when I was like 18 for a minute. But I worked in a meat room for a couple years there too. And anyway, but when I worked there at the meat room, my boss, cool dude named Paul, he was an old farmer guy, he's an old school tobacco farmer, and those folks, I know farmers and ranchers, they work out here. tobacco farmers work.
Oh, yeah.
When you have the tobacco. Never mind. I'm getting out of tobacco bar. Anyway, those guys are they're tough
Sure.
hombres too. They're hardworking men and women and people. But anyway, so Paul was the meat room manager there, and he had a saying every time, because we kind of stock a shelf or whatever, make sure that whatever's doing what we had to do, and then we'd be standing there, and there's no customers around, so we're just kind of sitting there chewing the fat, whatever, and Paul walks in. What are you doing? Just waiting for customers here, and well. If you got time to lean, you got time to clean. And that was his staple saying. And to this day, so I just pretended, let me look. I'm going to stare at the hot dog thing for 12 more times to see if it needs filling.
Yeah, that was the go-to from my manager back when John Snowberger was working the McDonald's. His guy, like his main in command, was this dude CJ, little bald dude. He'd always come in. You got time to lean? You got time to clean? Yeah. I remember having to clean the wheels of the grill with like a toothbrush. I'm like, this is stupid.
Well, I invite you to join the United States military.
That's why I didn't, man.
Because you want to, I'll tell you, stupid. I painted rocks. But I cleaned brass plates with a toothbrush on the floor for hours. I literally was on my hands and knees to pee in a toilet just so splashings wouldn't. When you're the latrine queen, like basic training, going to the bathroom's different. Like they have stalls for 40 people. We do not use the stalls for 40 people. They're like, all right, let you clean and let you 40 of us, you use that one and that one. You don't touch these down here. If you do, then you get a beat down.
You're the one who's going to deal with it.
I'll invite you to the term blanket party. But
turns out a bar of soap and a sock?
Yeah.
That's a pretty useful weapon.
So, but also the thing was like, peeing? No. You either sit down or you're on your knees. And I think we left one urinal, like one sink. It was, and I ain't gonna lie, we had to be funky bunch because the shower was not used often. I'm just saying, unless it was like a big deal thing where you're getting blues or something, people, because they knew
nobody wants to clean.
You got to clean it.
Yeah, nobody wants to clean this thing. And it's not just cleaning it either. It's deep cleaning it.
Oh yeah. They're this ain't like your house, man.
Yeah.
They're looking for stuff. If they find a smidge of a fraction of a hair somewhere, a short and curly shows up, you're done ski.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I don't know how that went down Paul and Meats, but that's where that was.
Just old parent sayings or dad sayings. But no, like I literally caught myself the other day. I told Hunter not to do something, and he came back with, I was just doing this. I said literally, I don't care what you were just doing.
Right.
And at that point I was like, oh my God, I'm my dad.
How many times have you used the because I said so?
A few. It's come up.
That's the official your parents.
Yeah, that's the I don't care what you're just doing. I told you to do this.
Yeah, that's a more eloquent version, I guess. But but that's when the kids why. I'm answering why, because I said that's why. I ain't gonna give you a reason right now. Because you will do it. Anyway, actually, our interview is a little long, so I probably should get her going here a little bit. On Tuesday, I think it was, we had Juliana Howerson, City Councilor, Ward 2, join us on the radio. She also brought Chantel, who is the director of Animal Services, and then Shaylin, who is the kennel coordinator over at Animal Services. And they're talking about the city council back in December passed a new pet ordinance. And that's changed some of the rules on, pet ownership. One of the big ones is chaining up your dogs in the backyard. That is no longer legal in the city. I think you can do it for if you're there and it's temporary, but you just can't chain a dog in the back and then go away. You can't do that anymore. So they enacted this ordinance back in December, but they've been kind of offering a grace period up until here April 10th is when they're going to start enforcing the new ordinance. So that means that they're going to start checking, looking. They're going to be, riding the streets, seeing to make sure people are in compliance. And if you're not, start issuing appropriate letters and things to get you in compliance. Or, if you don't, then follow that chain, which never ends good. But we have a great conversation talking a little bit about why that's, what's taking place and things like that. So we're going to play that for you here in just a few. Before we do any of that, though, let's get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have high pressure settling in over the southwestern states for a while, so we're in pretty good shape. Mid-60s for the afternoon high today, just a little breezy, and we should get sunshine. It'll be clear for the overnight hours, low to mid-30s, and then lots of sun on Friday, warming up a little bit. We're back in the mid and upper 70s. We're expecting 80s and sunshine through the upcoming weekend. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 30 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 41%. Winds are calm at the moment. Love that. Such a nice thing to say after the last couple of days. Sunny today and a high of 65. Winds will be out of the south, 5 to 10 this morning, 15 to 20 for the afternoon. So like Steve said, a little breezy. For tonight, mostly clear with an overnight low of 31. South winds 15 to 20. They'll drop down 5 to 10 after midnight. Friday, just downright beautiful day. Warm, sunny, and 78. Winds calm out of the southwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. So warm temps and calm breezes. So about the best we can ask for. Friday night, we're looking at clear skies with an overnight low of 36. Southwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, sunny, 83 for a high. North winds 5 to 10 early, 15 to 20 for the afternoon. Sunday, mostly sunny, 79 for a high, and we'll be, at least through midweek, we're going to be in the low to mid-80s. So warmer weather looks like here to stay for the foreseeable future. All right, 16 minutes after 8, we're going to take a 3-minute break, and then we'll play our interview with Juliana and the ladies from Animal Services. That's up on the other side of this break. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
The ultimate Wi-Fi experience is now available to you thanks to Smart Home Wi-Fi with Plateau. Get fiber-to-home technology 100 times faster than average household internet speed. Plateau has multiple plans and options to fit your family. With Fast, get true 100 megs per second download and upload speed. With Faster, get true 500 megs of download and upload speeds. And with Fastest, you get 1 gig. Learn more at plateautel.com. Get the speed you need with Plateau. Tried, true. Trust me.
Check out some of the specials you'll find this week at your local Farmers Country Market. Select 12-count boxes of Frosted Pop-Tarts are 2 for $5, and select varieties of Rice-A-Roni or Pasta-Roni are 4 for $5. In produce, offshore peaches and nectarines are $1.99 a pound, and honey mangoes are 2 for $1. In the meat department, family packs of choice beef bottom round roasts are $4.99 a pound, and boneless, skinless chicken breasts are $1.99 a pound. These are just some of the bargains you'll find this week at your local Farmers Country Market.
Chick Days are back at Roswell Livestock and Farm Supply, Friday and Saturday, March 21st and 22nd. Buy a 25-pound bag of Purina Start and Grow and get 3 free chicks. Or double up and get 6 free chicks with a 50-pound bag. Plus, bring the kiddos because Runyon Ranch Petting Zoo will be there, and tasty treats from the So Delicious Beverage Buggy. Open 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. on Friday and 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday at 1105 East 2nd in Roswell. Come take a peep at Chick Days, March 21st and 22nd at Roswell Livestock and Farm Supply. Double Up Days are back at Roswell Honda, and that means double your down payment. $500 becomes $1,000. $1,000 becomes $2,000. Up to $2,000 means $4,000 towards your next new or pre-owned vehicle. Get 2.9% APR for 36 months on all new Ridgeline and Pilot, and 2.49% for 36 months on all new CR-V hybrids. Now's the time to make your dollars go even further. Double up and save during Double Up Days on now at Roswell Honda, 2177 West 2nd.
Artesia Rodeo Days is heading to the Artesia Horse Council Arena at the Eddy County Fairgrounds March 27th, 28th, and 29th. Gates open at 6 p.m. and the rodeo begins at 7:30 nightly. Enjoy front row family fun, a calf scramble for the kids, trick riding, the rankest bulls and broncos on the circuit, as well as full concessions, food trucks, and vendors, and New Mexico's own Black Cock Brewery on site. Help them pack the house every night at the upcoming Artesia Rodeo Days, coming to the Artesia Horse Council Arena at the Eddy County Fairgrounds March 27th, 28th, and 29th. Gates open at 6 p.m. Rodeo starts at 7:30 nightly. Thank you to sponsors KC Light Towers, Amigo Machinery in Roswell, Benny's Western Store in Artesia, and Tape Branch Artesia. Early bird tickets are only $10 and available in Artesia at Benny's Western Store and Tape Branch, in Roswell at Amigo Machinery, and in Carlsbad at Forest Tire. Gate tickets will be $15, or you can find them online at rodeoticket.com. And paid for by Artesia Lodgers Tax.
The average American spends 2.5 days a year looking for lost items. We aren't sure how long Europeans and Asians look for lost stuff. We lost the list. Here's Mike Winters.
Joining us. And good morning. It is 7:26, and joining us in studio this morning, of course, we do have City Councilor representing Ward 2, Juliana Halverson.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you today?
Great.
Got your green boat. That's almost Dr. Seuss-esque.
Well,
I feel like
have
you
a
need a
whole
hat.
outfit, but
Okay.
I didn't want to wear the whole thing. I just wore the
that
green
needs a
bow
top
tie.
hat.
Yeah. I had a hat, but I'm like, I'm not going to wear the hat today. It'll blow away today.
That's true. Yeah, you got to get a chin strap today here. But also joining us in studio this morning is Chantel Moreau. Did I get that right?
Mayro.
Oh, she just
Just think of May.
Of course, she's an Animal Services Director here and also the Kennel Director, is that, or Kennel Coordinator, I think is the official title as well. Shayla McKelvey as well. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Joining us in this morning, bright in unison and everything.
And I'm on vacation.
That's true.
Wake up early.
Well, you know what? Well, for you guys, you come in here, it's like, it's quiet. I know Animal Services, nothing quiet about that building.
Not the back half where my office is.
So you're just like, shh, hear that? What's that? Nothing. Love it. But as folks know, this is something that, we as a city, we as a community have been talking about years, that Roswell, New Mexico has got a major pet overpopulation issue to the point where we're spreading it to other parts of the state and everything else here. And so city council and we're really trying to crack down on responsible pet ownership here. They started, a couple years ago. They enacted the ordinance.
Well, we're not cracking down on responsible. We're cracking down on irresponsible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're trying to encourage people to be responsible pet owners.
Exactly.
That's the term.
Yeah.
But of course, over the years here, we've added some. Over the last several years, we've added the chipping ordinance and some of these other things to get pets back to their owners and things like that. Well, City Council here back in December also, I guess, passed a new pet ordinance that's kind of dealing with some of how you house your pets and things like that. Things that were previously allowed in the city of Roswell are no longer going to be allowed in the city of Roswell, like chaining up your dog in the backyard. And we've had a grace period for this first quarter of the year. But here, I guess, is April 1 when it all takes over? What's the official date that?
April 11th, I believe.
So we got about 2 and a half weeks left.
Mid-April, yeah.
So, but we're trying to remind people now, look, come April 11th here, code enforcement, they will be looking. They're going to be going to neighborhoods. They're going to be making sure you're in compliance. And if you're not, then they're going to start the process.
Animal control.
Yeah. And what did I say?
Code enforcement.
Sorry.
They help.
They'll be out, they'll be out there too.
Sorry.
Yeah.
City folks will be guys in Roswell pickups and stuff will be going around town and making sure that your pets aren't chained up and they're not being left out and all the.
They have proper shelter.
There's proper shelter. There's proper access to water. All the things that living
Basic
things need to live.
Well, they see it every day, these ladies, and it's amazing how many. And Abby has too. She's a good resource, but
sure.
I don't know. You guys know the amount of animals that people just don't take proper care of. It's devastating.
It is sad what you guys see on a daily
day.
basis. Yeah. And I know you guys have the most thankless job in all of Roswell, and I understand that because all you're doing is trying to rescue and save and allow as many pets to get to homes and live happy lives as possible. Unfortunately, because of the nature of the work, most people aren't, they're dumping animals here, letting them, all the things that happen. People, let's get Sparky a dog for her birthday, and Sparky don't take care of the dog. And I know I can name the kid the same as the dog name, but y'all is working here. You know what I mean? Like that, or like, grandma needs a kitten. Well, grandma can't take care of a kitten. And so the kitten goes out. Now we have feral cats, and we've had these things, and so we need to be. The city can enact all the ordinances in the world. We can have 37 animal services and 57 humane societies and all this other stuff. If people don't be responsible pet owners, all of this goes out the window. If you're not chipping your pets, if you're not getting them vaccinated, we're going to shift into talking about, distemper and parvo and some of these things that are particularly dogs on some of these, but afflict animals. And,
that are preventable.
Yes, they're easily preventable. And unfortunately, we live in a climate that's the desert. And, things that are supposed to die when it gets cold don't die here. Things that are supposed to die when it gets hot don't. So these things that were typically other parts of the country have a season for it, we don't, because it doesn't go dormant. Just for a minute, or it mutates. The distemper and some of the things you're seeing now is probably not the same strains that we were seeing a couple years ago and stuff. So I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm just trying to get people perspective what you guys are dealing with right
you're
now.
fine.
Yeah, this is stuff that this isn't about we want to make sure you're giving we're not trying to micromanage people on. It's just saying, look, owning a pet's like owning a child, and if you're not willing to put in that time and energy and amount of dedication to it, then maybe you shouldn't adopt a pet. That's all we're saying.
And whenever people come to adopt a pet from us, it's the microchip, rabies vaccination, spay and neuter.
Yeah.
And it's the normal stuff that you would need for the just basic care of your animal.
This is stuff you should be doing anyway.
Exactly.
You shouldn't need an ordinance to tell you to do it. If you have a baby, you're going to take the baby to the doctor and do baby. Same thing.
Yeah, and if we pick up your animal, all you have to do is just pay the $40 reclaim fee because your animal has all the basic care it already needed.
Exactly.
So.
And this is kind of now, obviously, the rules, because I know for folks that don't know, you should go if you don't know. On East McGaffey, Animal Services and the Humane Society are right next to each other. Both places are rescue shelters. If you, I always tell people.
Well, we're not a shelter.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A place where animals can be adopted. Maybe
yes. Yeah.
But you can go to either one of these places and you're rescuing a pet. So I always tell people, walk into Animal Services. If there's no animals that gravitate to you, walk right next door to the Humane Society, or vice versa, whichever one you started in. Go hit them both, because either way, you guys are finding a home for a pet, rescuing a pet. And I'm telling you right now, obviously you guys are limited on what you can do, and government services at some point, if it's too crowded, you guys are forced to euthanize and stuff. Obviously, Humane Society and some of they don't do that. They're nonprofit. But what happens a lot of times is if you open up cages over there because you adopt pets, they'll come visit you guys and, who's on the short list? Let's adopt them over here. Mm-hmm. And so you guys partner and work well because everybody in your building wants to make sure these pets have homes too. That's the part we need to all understand.
Right.
We're all on the same page here. I'm telling you, you ladies have not got into animal services because you hate animals. And I think people think that.
No,
you know what I mean?
They think that.
It's like, no, I love it. When I get home, I'm rolling around on the floor with my dog. We do this because it's so sad that what, it's abuse. What you guys see on a daily basis is abuse. And if it was kids, there would be people in jail left and right. That's what we're saying here is it's time to treat your pets as a part of your family. If you're not willing to do that, maybe you should find another alternative to seek that, whatever you're trying to get there. You know what I mean? And with these new ordinance changes, we're going to enforce this. We're going to make people take care of these pets. Either you take care of them or you don't have them. We're not going to let you to continue to let's face it, put these pets in torture situations because, and I'm going to get a little mean here, what if I put a collar on your neck, put you in minimal clothing, and change you to the backyard and said, hang out here tonight, see how you do?
Yeah.
Pretty sure you're not going to like it.
Well, not only that, these ladies see it, and Chantel may be able to go, or Shaylin may go in more detail, but they call people, say, we have your dog, but it's not fixed, so they know they're going to get fined for that, or they have to get it fixed.
So they're like, I'm cutting and running, and then just leave the dog because they're afraid they're going to get hit with more fines and all of this.
Well, they just don't want to get their dog fixed.
Sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, and here's the point. if you're having money issues and all, they'll work with you on stuff. They'll talk to you. It's like they'll put you in touch with people to get vouchers and things. There's a lot of resources. If money's the problem, there's issue. If your intent is to be a loving parent for these pets, we're going to help you do that. Anything but that, then no, we'll take the pet back and here's a robotic puppy or something online you can play with.
and that's if the 98% of the animals that we have in the facility never come back to an owner. So that's
it's really a small percentage.
No, it's a large 98% don't.
Don't come. What I'm saying, it's a small percentage of people that are doing the wrong thing. That's what I was trying to say. Most of us do well, but the small enough percentage make a big enough impact that it creates a problem.
Yes.
And that's what we're dealing with. I get it. Most people, I get it. I've seen your stickers on your cars. I've seen y'all people pretty much treat your animals like kids, and that's awesome. Nothing wrong with that. We're talking to the folks that I get it, and I get it too. This is country life, and there's certain mindsets and people, and what cats do and what dogs do. They work on farms and ranches, and ain't nothing wrong with that. But when you live in the city and ain't working on a farm and ranch, you can't teach your animal like a farm and ranch.
Yeah.
It's just not how it works.
Well, and without the microchipping, Chantel or Shailene maybe will tell you more about, but their goal isn't to bring your dog into the facility. They want to get it back home.
It's to get it back to you when it comes to the facility or turns up someplace.
The officers scan them in the field. So before they even hit the facility.
Yeah, and this is what I always tell. Obviously, you have to get your pet ordinance. And even if you live in the county, if you adopt a pet from a city-owned facility or a facility within the city limits, you are bound by city ordinance. So you will have to get your pet chipped and everything, even if you don't live in the city. Yeah. If you're adopting it from Animal Services or for that matter, a Humane Society, you will be getting that chip.
Register the microchip.
Yeah, and it's really easy because what they'll do is you just when you there's Fluffy. That's our future,
Especially with the wind, it's knocking fences down left and right.
Yeah, and so they'll take them right and say, okay, all right, Fluffy needs to be spayed or neutered and needs to be chipped. We'll send her right to the vet of your choosing. Which vet do you want to have that done at? And you can pick your vet. And if you don't have one, ask. They'll recommend a vet and take you to the vet. And then you go pick your pet up there after it's had its surgery and gotten everything. And to be honest, this is something, and I don't care where you adopt a pet from. If you adopt a pet, first thing you should do is have it checked out. Take it to I know, obviously, you guys and Animal Humane Society, you guys do everything to take care of pets. But you got to know history. Take your pet in. That maybe they can tell you that your vet will tell you, okay, yeah, it's a puppy, but I think it's a little bit more older than what they thought it was because these are shelters. We don't have. Guess what? Strays don't come with papers.
Yes.
They don't come with an info sheet saying they're 4 years old and his name is Fluffy. And
well, and I picked up those strays at the bank the other day, and when the lady came to pick them up, I go, your dogs aren't fixed. They're not microchipped. Well, they're in my yard. I'm like, well, obviously they're not.
Until they're not.
It doesn't matter if they're in your yard or not. That's still even if they're in your house all the time, it's still required.
Absolutely. And here's I would even go. Obviously, you get your pet chipped because that's the ordinance. I would still go
register the microchip. That's the big problem.
Yeah, and then update it as you move, as you go. Update. It takes 5 minutes to do. That way, it's accurate information if your pet gets. But I would also go old school with the collar and the go to Petco or whatever and get the tag with your license, with your phone number or address or whatever, because your neighbors probably don't have a scanner.
And when they adopt from us or reclaim, we have a machine that makes that for them too for free.
So that way you got a physical. Yeah. So if your neighbors don't, Bobby got a new cat. It's Fluffy. Call Bob. Go pick up cat. Yeah. So I would do both here, and even if your cat's an indoor, because that's how it's supposed to be. Now, when we adopt cats, those aren't supposed to be hanging out in the alleys and stuff. You're supposed to keep them indoors and keep them as indoor cats, and just because they're indoor cats doesn't mean you need to slip on the shots, the rabies, the vaccinations, because guess what? You track things into your house. And sometimes, even though your cat doesn't come across other animals, you walk into places or walk into things, and then you come in and then you walk into your house. And I know your house isn't dirty, and most of us, but you can easily track in things that your cat can get sick off of just because I'm sure you ladies have to decontaminate when you get home just to keep your pets, personal pets, from coming across some of the things that you guys are exposed to in the shelter here. So that's kind of what we're talking, this is kind of the thing we're talking about. And this is kind of where I want to touch a little bit about you guys are having, I say you guys, everybody in New Mexico is having a real problem with distemper. Right now it's distemper, right? I get the parvos and all
yes.
that. To me, it's all bad. If I hear any of them, like, none of it's good. You got to do a lot to do it. But right now it's distemper that we're dealing with. And so now are you guys kind of holding off on allowing new animals to come in right now, or is that all good? Because I know that there is rules that come in place when you're dealing with some of this.
Our officers are on priority call only right now. So that's, sick, injured, aggressive.
Animals that are a threat or a problem or something needs to be done immediately to help or remove them from a situation.
We have a different facility that the new intakes go to, and they're spread apart, not near each other.
Quarantined out, doing all the things you got to do.
And then nothing new is coming into Roswell Animal Services.
Okay. And I know folks similarly, the Humane Society next door was dealing with some of that stuff weeks before. I think they're back to letting folks in.
Yeah, they were only shut down for 15 days.
Gotcha. Which and it's one of those deals. If I remember, she was talking. How it works is when they get like one case, that puts 2 weeks on the clock, and then if no new cases come up, then we're good. But if another case pops up, that resets that 2 week clock. So I'm guessing
that would be the same for us.
So they kind of got lucky and it only went 2 weeks.
Well, because what I've learned from the vets is it takes 10 days to show symptoms, but apparently this version of distemper that's going around is taking 15 to 20 days.
And this is something that I know we've talked with Crystal and you guys are dealing with. This is because we live where we live, the desert and everything else, distemper doesn't have, it's pretty much 24/7. Like, and what I mean, 12 months a year. It's not, like, generally speaking, weather, climates, and things, it'll make it where distemper's gone dormant, and it's not. But because our weather is relatively mild, we don't have, we have extreme winds, but we don't get Arctic. We don't get, you know what I mean? We don't, and so there's really no enemy to the distemper.
The winds probably make it worse because it's airborne.
Yeah, there's nothing to curtail it as far as the weather-wise here. So that means it's constantly going, it's constantly active, which means pets are getting exposed easily. And, that's why you've got to get your vet, take your pets to the vets, get them shots, get everything up to date. Even if your cat does not see the outdoors, bring it to the vet to make sure it's updated on those shots. Make sure they're chipped, even if they never leave the house, because one time they will. That's the whole point.
The problem these ladies deal with is when they pick up an animal, they don't know if it's infected. And you guys want to talk about your procedures when people...
Yeah, you guys are flying blind. You just see an animal and you don't know, it could be the healthiest thing. It could be...
Well, we get animals from over the counter. People bring them in. We get them from county, and we get them from the city. So all over Roswell.
And you guys really have to take them.
Yes,
because you're the last line of defense. So there's no one
Yeah,
else
we
to
don't-
pass the buck to, so to speak.
We don't get to look at the public and be like, no, we're not going to take these animals. We have to take these animals. We are not a shelter. We are
I know,
public
I
safety.
keep saying that. I keep
I still
confusing.
catch myself.
That's okay. But we are public safety. And if you run across a dog on the street, you don't know if you're going to get bit. When we're not shut down, our officers have to pick them up, and we don't know where these dogs are coming from. But we do our best to quarantine the dogs in our quarantine area.
Vaccinate.
Vaccinate upon intake.
Oh yeah, they get
Bordetella, distemper.
They get the full workups when they do come into animal
Except for
services.
rabies. They can't do the rabies.
Yeah.
But as soon as you go adopt the pet to your vet, guess what they're getting? That rabies shot, right? As soon as they get
They
chipped
have
and
to,
everything else,
yeah.
the rabies will be. And if they're getting spayed or neutered, that'll also probably take place at that time.
Yeah. We have 11 kennels in our quarantine area, and since we are a city facility, we fill up fast because people are not watching their animals. So we try to quarantine as long as we're able to.
And this is why we, the public, have to be the active. Animal services can't do it on their own. All the volunteer groups we have put together can't do it on their own. It takes we, the public, be responsible pet owners. When you see someone at Walmart parking lot selling puppies in the back of the car, call law enforcement. Not only is that illegal, it's a safety issue. It is a health and safety issue. If you want to adopt a pet but not fully committed, if you're not willing to raise it like a child, then maybe you should not raise a pet. I'm telling you right now, everything, and even in today's world, that's why pet health insurance is a thing now, because it literally is just like your kids. You take them and they're going to get all their shots, and as life happens and as their lives change, you're going to have to do different healthcare things to them. Bigger dogs generally have hip issues. You're going to be doing a lot of that kind of stuff. Little dogs, they got all kinds of, especially if you're dealing with purebred dogs with pushed-in noses and stuff, they generally are not as healthier pets than some of your mutts. If you're put it this way, if you're looking to make a pet part of your home, like a family and all that, highly recommend it. Come on down to Animal Services, but don't get hung up on I want the full standard poodle because it's I'm telling you, the muddier the dog, the cooler, smarter that dog is. And the more mutt it is, usually the cooler the dog it is. I'm just saying.
But we want to stress too, because the problem they're having too, and everyone is, they're not breeding, they're just not getting their dogs fixed. So they're having accidental litters like crazy.
And we can't. And everyone thinks that it's a money machine.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a purebred, whatever. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to do a litter and sell it. I'm going to sell them for $1,200 a piece or whatever fantasy they get in their head, and that never happens.
Or they expect us to take them in and
right, like they've got some valuable commodity, and I'm like, you're not.
The amount of litters of puppies we get.
Yeah.
People think it's a money grab
that they found.
Yeah.
But they just don't take care of their animals, and they just don't want the puppies. And
that's the other thing.
Them.
They're just too lazy to go take their vet fix, and then guess what? Dog or cat goes into heat, and you all know what happens when that happens. We've all seen it at one point when all the neighborhood animals are hanging out in your yard.
And sometimes it's not that they're lazy; it's that they're not financially able to get their animal fixed. Which, if you're not financially able to get your animal some basic vet care, don't get an animal.
This is something, you've got to weigh that decision. It is, like I said, it's like raising a child. Okay, maybe you're not sending you to college at the end, but the amount of time and energy and money, and if you're doing it right, you're treating it like a member of the family, and you're going to spend thousands of dollars on that animal at the end of the day.
And like the Colorado Animal Welfare League, they come in and they do, I don't know what they charge hardly anything. Shauna Emmert runs it here in town, and
they're wonderful.
You could call them.
Yeah, be on the list.
They give them shots. They give them the rabies too because they have a vet.
Yeah.
Be on the listen, because I know every time that there's like one of these spay or neuter clinics that pop up or something like that, we'll try to get the word out and take advantage of those. And I know.
And they have scholarships too. I mean, yeah.
And I know, like sometimes the Humane Society will do it. I think you guys do it too, where they do these. There's vouchers that come up for spay and neuter. Now they won't give you free ones, but they can knock a couple $100, $200 off the cost.
We have that program. We're reapplying for a grant that actually funded it. But if people want to donate to that,
the more the merrier, because the only way we're fixing this, folks, is we the people be good pet owners. We can enact all these ordinances. We can have animal services come rolling through every single street every night of the day. It's not going to fix the problem.
Because we partner. How many vets do you have on that spay-neuter program, the low cost?
All of them now.
Oh, so all the vets in town are working with animals.
On
because they have
there.
the same goal. They want to stop the...
Well, they all see it. Every person that deals with animals in some way, shape, or form in Roswell or Chaves County knows exactly what we're talking about. And trust me, this distemper thing is serious. Treat it serious. If you do not, and if you're a pet owner right now and your pets aren't vaccinated up to date, you need to be calling your vet right now. Get an appointment to get them up to date on this stuff. If your pet's not microchipped or any of that stuff, please. They will be checking. And I'm telling you here, if your animal's chained up, that's something we haven't really said. Maybe Juliana, let's talk. What are the actual new changes to the ordinance? I know chaining up is one, but what are some of the things? So it's
tethering. We increased the fines for a lot of the items that because I don't want to make people suffer, but I want people to realize that it's cheaper to get your dog fixed than it is to pay the fine for not having it fixed.
You don't want people to suffer, but you want to make it a priority in their life to get this.
And
done.
we did add before it was just the rabies. vaccine that was required. Now it's requiring the rabies, distemper, and for the cats, the feline leukemia. All
because these are issues.
Yeah.
They aren't just making this up because it's fun to do. It's because animals are dying and they're spreading because these outbreaks of distemper and
and they're dying just because they're having litters of puppies, and there's just so many,
And to be honest, folks, having your pet spayed or neutered is a healthy option for your pet. A lot of the cancers that cats get and some of these animals deal with all go away once they're spayed or neutered.
Well, and if you're having behavioral issues, fixes that.
Yeah, exactly. If you're the marking of the territories, I'm not saying it gets rid of it altogether, but it definitely puts some of the anger out of the attitude a little bit and kind of gives them I guess whatever pent up anger or whatever's going on there, it dissipates.
That's it. And it's frustrating that a lot of people just don't care.
Yeah, that's the
these ladies and everyone, the staff over there, doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
We've walked through there with the state vet. We walked through there with several vets, and they're just the change since Chantel's been there. It's cleaner. It's just so much better now.
It is, and this is a community effort. We all got to get. I mean, I know everyone.
Yeah, I think they're happy for volunteers.
Yeah, people. If you get, you know what? If you're not happy, well, we need to roll up your sleeves and come on down. Animal Services would love to have volunteers. You know what? If they ain't got enough, walk next door. I'm sure they'd love to have some help over there.
The volunteer applications are right up front.
Absolutely, and I'm sure any young folks maybe have aspirations as veterinary medicine or ranchers, for that matter. Might learn a thing or two by hanging out with Animal Services.
Well, like you mentioned, their job is thankless, but everyone there, they've done amazing. They care about the animals. They actually take care of them.
These are pet lovers. These are pet people. These are folks that I'm going to take a stab that you spend your day just angry and upset because you walk into a situation or hear about a situation almost a daily basis. I'm going to take a stab that you're just like, what is wrong with people? Like, how can you... And what in your brain thinks this is okay? You know what I mean? And that's the sad part of this. And I understand. People look at animals differently. I get some of us are a little over the top. I get it. I'm one of those people. I'm the guy that walks in the room. I don't care if your dogs are working or not. I'm going to roll around the floor with them.
Yeah.
This is what I do.
we build bonds with the animals that come into our facility.
You absolutely do.
Want to take some
I'm sure your family has told you no so many times.
My
and you wanted to take
poor
it.
husband.
They just got you come in the door and say, no. Let this cat know.
And Sarah with the city marketing department, she's done a great job with billboards and stuff telling people what to do. And then they do a great job posting animals. Say, hey, is this your dog? It's not, you don't have to go on 24 Pet Connect all the time. They post like, oh, this dog was just picked up. If it's yours, come get it now.
Stay plugged into that stuff. Because they
have a Facebook page that they update.
Yeah, and they constantly update. And that's, and to be honest, that's the best way to, because if Animal Services comes across your pet, they will do everything within their power to let people know, hey, it's right here. Yeah. Come tell your friends, tell your family, come get your pet. Your pet's looking for you.
Yeah. Chantel goes above and beyond when she sees a dog that she's like, no, this animal has an owner. She'll do her best to try and get that dog back to the owner.
Well, and this is the kind of point I'm saying is you guys have regulations and requirements that you have to meet, and I'm sure they're very black and white. But as animal lovers yourselves, you try to take care of all the gray before it gets to the black and white, because at the end of the day, the priority here is these pets. And we would love it to the point where you walk into Animal Services or the Humane Society and say, we only got like 2 dogs because everyone's adopting them and they're doing their thing. That would be an awesome problem to have, where we're like soliciting, hey, you sure you don't know? I don't think that'll ever happen, but that's what we're trying to do. At this point, we cannot, you could build literally a animal shelter the size of like Sing Sing prison, and we would fill it right now. That's what I'm trying to say is it's not build more, it's we've got to fix the problem. We can't just keep adding more cages. That's not going to fix the problem.
No, and you're absolutely right. Everybody here, there's like 3 sections, and everybody likes to put the blame on that other section. We got to stop putting the blame everywhere else except for on the city of Roswell.
It is
we are
the
a
public.
city that that needs to come together and try to hit this issue head on.
Yep. And every time that you adopt a pet and don't, and then I get it. Some things don't work out. Sometimes it happens. Life happens. It's what you do about it afterwards.
Mhm.
What do you do to get that pet? Do you make it? You can't just turn it loose. You can't just forget about it. You can't do the old school cartoon where you take them on the picnic in the country and they come. You can't do any of that.
I want to add that we do foster to adopt. We allow them to foster it for a week to see if it's
Kind of
a
a test
good
run.
fit. Yeah, see if it's a fit for them.
Sure.
If not, you can bring it back. If it is, then adopt it.
Yeah. Now, obviously, Humane Society is a little more stringent on rules on, what they can adopt. And so that's why I always say if you don't find. Now, that being said, if, and I get it too. Sometimes, all right, my fence isn't good enough. That doesn't mean I'm a bad pet owner. No problem. Come on down. We're going to, we get that. We're not as stringent here. But at the end of the day, we expect the same attitude on the pet ownership here. This pet will be a part of your family. You will treat it like a kid. And it will be a part. If you're having a pet just to put it out in the backyard for protection, then we don't need that. If you want protection, get an alarm.
Well, Elizabeth with the city, she's changing departments now, but she wrote a grant again to same one that gave us the low cost spay neuter money.
Mm-hmm.
She's adding in like kennels for people that can't build a fence, but they can't tether their dogs, so they'll get a dog kennel that's big enough for the dogs to. We're still working on that, but.
And I know too, we're starting to not be a problem right now, but when it was colder and stuff, there's a lot of people offering free straw and things to put into these shelters for folks that can't, if they have dog houses that can't be indoors or things like that, you at least put a bunch of straw in there because that provides a lot of insulation and warmth for these.
And that's where Abby's great. She sees she tries really hard to get these dogs taken care of.
Yeah, we get it. Not everybody can do the most efficient thing because life. I get that, But wait a minute, I'm not eating steak. I'm not getting the dog steak. I get that.
But you get people too. They deal with the hoarding situations where these people they don't have the money to care for these animals, and they just keep letting them breed, and then they have to deal with that because they'll go to one house. Oh, there's 20 dogs we have to pick up today.
Well, they think that's going to be their ticket out. Like some magic person's going to come in. And, oh, you've got all these dogs. I will pay you $1 million for them. I'm like, okay. No one wants it either, And so please, if you see that kind of stuff, report it. If you yourself are not in compliance with this ordinance, you got about 2 weeks to get her done. Let's do this.
Well, that's just the tethering part. The rest of it's being enforced.
Yeah, you know what I mean. To get in compliance here, because we will have folks start checking and making sure that, and if you're not, they're going to start the process. It'll start with fines, but the more you ignore, the more heavy-handed we get, basically. Kind of like weeds and all them other things. At first you get a letter, and then after a while you start getting people knocking on the door.
Well, and when it's windy like this, I don't know how they are, but I'm pretty sure that if there's a dog running at large, they'll try to scan it. That's why it's important you microchip, because they want to get your dog home.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to take it to the facility where it's exposed to diseases and stuff because people aren't vaccinating their dogs.
And plus, when dogs are out, dogs are like people. When they're flustered, they're going to act erratically, just like you.
So when fireworks happen, when the wind blows, the dogs are going to get out.
They might be more aggressive, and I know.
Yeah.
That dog wouldn't hurt a fly, but if you put it in a corner and it's freaked out, it's going to lash out, just like you.
But if it's microchipped and the microchip's registered, they can take it home right away.
But this is also, we know, when they see the tag hanging there and the dog's freaked out, it's like, the dog's owned by somebody. It's just scared. Let's act accordingly.
Because my dogs have gotten out and they had tags, so people call me right away.
Yeah, and the tags are a good way for the public just to get these dogs home as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So please, Wes, you are required to get your chipped, your pet chipped, but as an added layer, I go old school as well too. Just put the collar with Scrappy's name and maybe your cell phone number. That's plenty enough. You don't have to put addresses and all that, but at least a phone number, a way to contact you very easily. And then of course update it. You get a new phone, maybe update the number. Go back to Petco or I think you can go down to animal control or animal services or whatever and get the tags made and go get it updated. So
I want to add to that vets do scan for microchips because a lot of times people
News
don't
this hour
like to
from
bring them to our facility to get
townhall.com.
scanned or anything
all
like
vets
that.
pretty much have that technology.
They can do that as well,
235
so.
suspected members of an
What is that?
ultra-violent Venezuelan gang
Can we
have
buy
been
that on
deported by the
T-Move
Trump
yet?
administration.
Like the T-Move chip scanner, like your home model.
Despite a federal judge's order
you know what? I
against the
forgot
deportation.
we're at 8 o'clock. We already ran over time here. So we better wrap this up while I turn that off here because people get mad we're cutting into news. If anybody has any questions about anything, don't hesitate to call City Hall. Don't hesitate to call Animal Services. They'd be happy to talk to you about this. Go online to roswell-nm.gov. You can kind of see under Animal Services, you can see what the new ordinance is all about, and read up on it and everything else.
I just want a real quick ad. Don't just complain on Facebook. Step up and actually do something.
Absolutely. That's the thing. It's easy to take pot shots on Facebook. It's kind of fun sometimes. I get it. But you want to actually fix things, get out there and do it. So, come and help these ladies. Did we get it all? Anything we missed you guys wanted to cover?
I just want to say what a great job they're doing. I'm very proud.
And thank you. Yeah, I know it's thankless. I know people yell at you all day, and everyone's, I get it. People get passionate. You get the extremes. You get the extreme don't care about pets, and the people that care probably more than they should. And you get to deal with both of them. So I get it. So, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Juliana. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.
It's 8:01. As you heard, I'm way over. Don't yell at me. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
Jared Cirillo, the United Way of Eddy County, providing Community Impact Awards to 16 participating agencies. Thanks to the generosity of Eddy County residents, the United Way increased its total allocation by 10% this year. Participating agencies selected include the Community of Hope, Artesia Literacy Council, Eddy County CASA, the Grammys House, Lifehouse Inc., Permian Basin Counseling, Haven of Hope. Also, Oasis Women's Services, the Southeast New Mexico Community Action Corporation, Affirming Heart Foundry Home, the Boys and Girls Club of Carlsbad, Carlsbad Battered Family Shelter, the Carlsbad Literacy Program, Carlsbad Main Street, and Carlsbad Transitional Housing. A community rebuild and repair expo for those impacted by the October flooding event is scheduled for April 5th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at ENMU Roswell. For residents, they'll be able to take the first steps to finding and hiring a contractor for rebuilding, repairing, and flood cleanup. They can also meet qualified contractors who are ready to get to work and get help from disaster case managers. Contractor participation is free, and the event is free and open to the public. There will also be food trucks. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have high pressure settling in over the southwestern states for a while, so we're in pretty good shape. Mid-60s for the afternoon high today, just a little breezy, and we should get sunshine. It'll be clear for the overnight hours, low to mid-30s, and then lots of sun on Friday, warming up a little bit. We're back in the mid and upper 70s. We're expecting 80s and sunshine through the upcoming weekend. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
It's time for the Chaves County Sports Report. We got some baseball and softball action going on today, and a lot of it is in Artesia. So let's start there, where the Goddard baseball team and the Roswell Coyotes are a part of the same Artesia Invitational. Goddard starts the festivities this morning at 10 a.m. against Alamogordo, which is already 7-1 on the season. Goddard is 2-3. Roswell, later in the day at 4 o'clock, will take on Los Alamos. Roswell is 2-6. Last game was a one-run loss to Clovis on Saturday. Meanwhile, the softball tournament in Artesia, that's happening too. And Goddard will be playing against Bernalillo at 2 o'clock. The Lady Rockets 5-3. Bernalillo is 3-1. And the Lindsay Callaway softball tournament, the annual tournament in Dexter, begins today for the host Demons. It's a game against Hatch Valley starting at 6. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
Injury, surgery, or illness can set you back, but you don't have to recover alone.
At Artesia General Hospital, our rehabilitation services team provides physical, occupational, and speech therapy to help you regain strength, mobility, and confidence. Take the next step toward recovery. Call 575-736-8174 today to schedule an appointment and get back to living life to the fullest.
Since the beginning of time, people have pondered the meaning of life. From philosophers to writers, even kings, this question has been asked time and time again. Solomon, the author of the book of Ecclesiastes, was no different. Chosen by God to lead the people of Israel and blessed with wisdom, wealth, and honor, he set out to understand the true meaning of life. In his writings, he reflects on the fleeting nature of earthly pursuits. Despite possessing everything the world could offer, he discovers that without a deeper purpose, all of it felt like vanity, or, in other words, chasing after the wind. Solomon concludes that life's meaning is not found in wealth, pleasure, or status, but in fearing God and keeping his commandments. Because while earthly pursuits are temporary, true fulfillment is found in devotion to God and living in alignment with his will. In essence, the purpose of life is found in living a life of purpose, centered on God's divine plan.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
What made Roswell Hyundai the #1 used car dealership in southeastern New Mexico? Great selection, great savings, and great people. Roswell Hyundai has an amazing selection of makes, models, and model years to choose from. If you can't find it, Roswell Hyundai can get it. And Roswell Hyundai will take any trade. The experts at Roswell Hyundai will work with you to get you behind the wheel of your next dream ride. So, what makes Roswell Hyundai the #1 used car dealership in southeastern New Mexico? You do! Come check out the Used Car Supercenter only at Roswell Hyundai, 1909 West 2nd.
No static at all. Your new home for talk radio is KEND Roswell.
Townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. An American man abducted more than 2 years ago while visiting Afghanistan as a tourist has been released by the Taliban. The State Department says George Glesman was freed under a deal brokered by U.S. and Qatari negotiators. The Justice Department is playing hardball with a federal district judge over the administration's deportation policy.
The DOJ is resisting a federal judge's demand for more information about flights that took deportees to El Salvador over the weekend. It argues that the court is intruding in the executive branch's authority. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
We have judges who are acting as partisan activists from the bench.
The administration has until noon today to either provide the requested information or to make a claim that it must be withheld because it would harm state secrets. Greg Clugston, the White House.
An executive order to be signed later today by President Trump could set the stage for a constitutional showdown. The order moves to abolish the congressionally created Department of Education. The power of prayer on full display in the Oval Office. Clergy members visiting the president the other day.
The White House posted an image of the leaders gathered in prayer around President Trump as he sat at his desk. In February, President Trump signed an executive order to establish the White House Faith Office as part of the Domestic Policy Council. The order states the new office will consult with faith leaders on various topics, including defending religious liberty.
And that's correspondent Tasha Stevens. Used home sales up 4.2% last month from January. That according to the National Association of Realtors. However, existing home sales fell 1.2% when compared with February of last year. Watching Wall Street this hour, stocks are higher. The Dow is up 213 points. The Nasdaq better by 86 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals, too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
Yet another meeting of European leaders grappling with a host of issues, including the very real possibility of less U.S. support for their military.
Summits are coming thick and fast, it seems, in Brussels. This one is hot on the heels of an emergency one about how to bolster both support for Ukraine and Europe's own security. Leaders will look to build momentum, aware of the urgency of taking more responsibility for the continent's defence at a time of waning US commitment under Donald Trump. But economic competitiveness is the summit's main focus. Leaders will discuss issues like simplifying regulations, ways of bringing energy costs down, and how to support key sectors like the car industry and steel.
That's BBC's Danny Eberhard. Germany reopening its embassy in Damascus 13 years after it was shut in the early days of the Syrian civil war. The embassy reopening follows the fall of Syrian dictator Bashar Assad. News and analysis, townhall.com. In Texas, the race is on.
Former Houston City Council member Amanda Edwards announced her bid for Congress on Wednesday to fill the seat vacated after the death of Representative Sylvester Turner, saying the Democratic Party needs a different approach that is, quote, responsive to the moment. Edwards made 2 unsuccessful attempts to secure the seat last year, competing in the 2024 Democratic primary against Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, who served as a district's representative from 1995 until her death last year. Though Jackson Lee won, she died before the general election, reopening the party's nomination process. Edwards finished second in the contest to Turner, the former mayor of Houston. Bernie Bennett reporting.
The Social Security Administration's plan to require in-person ID checks for millions of new and existing recipients, drawing the ire of lawmakers, advocacy groups, and program recipients. Concerned that the government is throwing up barriers in front of people looking to access their benefits, the Trump administration says it's necessary to fight fraud and abuse. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Tres inviernos
of Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. He's in and out. Thank you, John. Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope your Thursday is going just well. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just happy because it's not 100-mile-an-hour winds and dust and everything else. Like this afternoon, I think I heard 15 to 20, and I'm like, like you're like 15 to 20. It's like, that's child's play. Yeah, we don't do it. Yeah, 15 to 20 this afternoon, 5 to 10 today. So I'm just happy. And to be honest, like this weekend's gonna be, like tomorrow's gonna be just downright delightful. And then like this weekend's gonna be nice too. It'll be in the 80s, 79 on Sunday, but I mean, a little breezy, 15 to 20. That's again nothing for us now. We're, as long as it's not putting dirt in everything you own. It's like you walk down the street, next thing you know, your teeth are gritty. Yeah, I swear. Oh, what day was it? It was the real bad wind day. Was that Tuesday or Monday? Whatever day that was. And when Sean and I were leaving the office, and we come off the exit to the buildings on 3rd Street. So we get on, we park in the alley here between 3rd and 4th. Never mind. I was going to make a joke, but never mind. I'll move on. So So how we exit the building, walk there, and then we go down the alley to get in, and these buildings act as wind shields and wind tunnels, depending on which direction the winds are blowing. And this particular day, as you're on 3rd, it was still, don't get me wrong, windy as all get out, but it was serving as a shield. Because as soon as we hit the alley, it was literally the mime bit where he's like standing in motion, walking. That was us trying to just navigate. We literally had to like come back and get a running start to get into there just to get any kind of momentum to get down the alleyway. It was so dang windy. So I'm just thankful 15 to 20 is nothing after that. This is cupcake weather. So, but so be thankful for that. And then the weekend's coming, and it's kind of as Sean was mentioning, the spring break last hurrah as kids. Because he was like, oh, people are kind of sad about this week. I said, not everybody. Some parents are going to be. Their weekend starts Monday. So, but last hurrah for spring break here is if you got weekend getaways or weekend plans. And, of course, there's always a bevy of stuff going around town. So, I do want to remind folks real quick, though, before we kind of get into the hour, because today is the last day to take advantage of this. I mentioned it earlier in the show. But Camp Invention is coming up back again this year. Peggy Boland's been doing this for, 15, 20 years now here in town. But it is a week-long day camp for kids entering kindergarten through 6th grade, and they do fun STEM, and it's really STEAM, because they do 4 different modules, and they're all, like, useful stuff. Like, everything from, like the 4 modules this year, one of them they're learning about, like trip planning and GPS stuff. One, they're learning about creating illusions and things like that for movie props and TV. So it's a lot of art within the science that they're teaching there. But and regardless of your kids in younger, like 1st grade or 5th grade, they work on the same modules, but the level of what they learn is age appropriate. So the 5th graders are learning a little bit more than the 1st graders are here. But anyway, that week-long camp is June 2nd through the 6th, the first week of June. It's back at All Saints Catholic School. It'll run from 9 to 3:30 each day. Cost is $290 for the camp. But there is a code that ends today that you can save $25 on. If you go to invent.org/camp, the camp is run by the National Inventors Hall of Fame. They have camps all over the country. So you'll click the link that says find a camp near you. You'll type in Roswell 88201, something like that. Maybe that NM, in case they give you one in Georgia. But do that, and then you'll find the camp here. You can log and register and sign up. But when you check out, you can enter in offer code FUN25, FUN25, and if you do that today, you'll save $25 off that. But that code ends today. That's why I'm telling you. Now, I will mention real quick, if you do need a bigger scholarship, a partial scholarship, that is also available, but it's handled locally. You don't want to register through the website because we can't help you that way. So you need to call Peggy Boland direct. You can reach her at 575-420-9955, and she can talk with you. And we've had some very generous folks that have donated money for scholarships and things. So if you need a partial scholarship, and just tell her your story, tell her what's going on, and they'll vary on your need on some of that. She does ask that you pay something because she wants to make sure that you're invested. So, she can really help you out with that. Again, reach out to her, because I get it. $209 is a lot to pay for a kid's week at camp. I get it. There's a lot, although $290 doesn't get you where it used to get you. But anyway, you can get like 6 Happy Meals now with that. But anyway, just call Peggy direct, 575-420-9955, see what she can do to help you out there. But if you don't need that kind of assistance, but I'd like to save $25. I was going to send my kid to camp. I mean, if I can do it cheaper, I'll take advantage of that. Register today. And by the way, camp is limited to 75 campers this year. So they will fill quickly. So if you wait till like May to sign your child up, you may, pun intended, be on the outside looking in and not getting a chance to do that. So go ahead and do it today. Get it done. Save $25, and then your kid's ready to go for camp here in June. So, all right, Hunter Spindle, Deputy DA, going to join us here in just a few minutes. And but before we do that, let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather, which, like I said, is kind of nice. So enjoy it. It's a good. This isn't the bad news bear. This is the relatively good news bear.
Weather this hour brought to you by Southwest Bearing under new ownership. Custom solutions for your heavy equipment. Hydraulic hoses, hose repair, bearings, seals, sprockets, belts, tools, fluids, and fittings.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have high pressure settling in over the southwestern states for a while, so we're in pretty good shape. Mid-60s for the afternoon high today. Just a little breezy, and we should get sunshine. It'll be clear for the overnight hours, low to mid-30s, and then lots of sun on Friday, warming up a little bit. We're back in the mid and upper 70s. We're expecting 80s and sunshine through the upcoming weekend. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. 30 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 41%. Winds, I love saying this, calm at the moment. It's so nice to say. Sunny today with a high of 65. South winds 5 to 10 this morning, 15 to 20 for the afternoon. Clear tonight with an overnight low of 31 degrees. South winds 15 to 20, dropping down 5 to 10 after midnight. Friday, I ain't got a bad thing to say about this. Sunny, 78. Southwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour, shifting to the northwest later in the day. So that's perfect weather. Mostly clear tomorrow night, overnight low of 36. Southwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunny on Saturday, high of 83. Winds out of the northwest 5 to 10 early, 15 to 20 for the afternoon. Mostly sunny and 79 on Sunday. And it looks like through next week, at least through Wednesday, we're going to be floating in the low to mid 80s. 81 on Monday, 85 Tuesday, 83 on Wednesday. So I officially think we're done with cold weather. I think it's officially spring, like it is officially spring now, I think, right? Isn't it today? Is today spring day? I think it is. We're officially spring, and it's actually, they nailed it. No more, 6 more weeks of winter, whatever the groundhog says. But anyway, so that's your weather. It is 9:15. We're going to take about a 3-minute break. And then Hunter will join us here on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
The Roswell Symphony Orchestra presents Kinderman Plays Beethoven, Saturday, May 3rd, 7:30 p.m. at Pearson Auditorium in Roswell. William Kinderman returns to Roswell to perform Beethoven's Piano Concerto No. 5, Emperor, along with works by Weber, Dvorak, and Richard Strauss. Tickets are on sale now at roswellsymphony.org or by calling 575-623-5882. Kinderman Plays Beethoven, Saturday, May 3rd, 7:30 p.m. at Pearson Auditorium in Roswell. Sponsored in part by Dr. John and Mrs. Deanne Kaysen and the Roswell Lodgers Tax.
At Richland Motors, it's never been easier to sell or trade your current car, truck, or SUV for a newer model to hit the road in. Even if you don't purchase from Richland, they want to buy your vehicle for top dollar. But if you do buy from Richland, don't forget, they're the home of the powertrain warranty for life. That's a whole lot of confidence for you. See Richland for details. 2nd and Sycamore and 1309 Southeast Main.
Are you ready to succeed? The School of Arts and Sciences at ENMU Roswell covers a broad curriculum. The certificates and degrees offered within these programs will prepare students to realize personal, professional, and occupational objectives, from ag science and agricultural technology to behavioral science, biology, bookkeeping and accounting, business administration, criminal justice, education, and mathematics. ENMU Roswell can set you up for success. Register now on campus or online at roswell.enmu.edu. Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell. Success starts here.
Coming this April 4th and 5th, the My Ashley Foundation, in cooperation with the Downtown Lions Club in Artesia, New Mexico, present their first annual golf tournament and banquet featuring guest speaker Kevin Sorbo.
Now, I am very excited to be heading to Artesia, New Mexico on April 4th, 5th, and 6th for a very special weekend with our dear friends Mark and Lorraine Richards and the incredible My Ashley Foundation. Friday night, we're going to kick off things with a very special dinner and an auction. And then on Saturday, we're going to hit the golf course, which is my favorite thing, for a day of fun, laughter, and maybe even a little competition. I do get a little competitive. And on Sunday, we're going to be gathering up for a time of worship and fellowship at Harvest Fellowship Church. You don't want to miss this. Be sure to bring your tickets. Grab them right now and join us in supporting this incredible outreach that are making a real difference in Artesia. And I hope to see you all very, very soon. God bless.
For golf reservations and sponsorships, call the ACC Pro Shop 575-746-6732. And for individual banquet tickets, call the Artesia Chamber of Commerce 575-746-2744. All proceeds will go to the Artesia Lions Club and the My Ashley Foundation to support the organization's community service and outreach programs.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Astronauts are not allowed to eat beans before they go into space because passing wind in a spacesuit damages them. The suits for the astronauts. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 18 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from the 5th Judicial District, Deputy DA Hunter Spindle back with us. Good morning, sir. How you doing today?
Good morning. It's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah. You've been kind of, I guess, doing your day job and didn't really have a lot of time to kind of do the more fun side of the job. I guess you didn't get to play. You had too much work to do.
Yeah. Well, the last several times we've been scheduled to be here, I've been in a trial. Had a week-long homicide trial pretty much each month.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much been my last couple months.
Just gee whiz curious, and this is why I like talking to the office here, because I rarely get the chance. We get to kind of see, the world from y'all's perspective. And that's and sometimes, especially in today's world, everything's so divisive, and but people forget. No, things impact everybody. Everybody impacts, and obviously with your job as a prosecutor, and you deal with murder trials unfortunately on a regular basis here. And I know we've talked a little bit about how you guys cope as an office, but I mean. Do you have to have an ability to turn that switch off when you go home, or I mean, yes, we could say that, but as human beings, that's really impossible. I mean, how do you navigate that? How do you? I mean, or do it's healthy? I take it home, and my wife and I we talk about some of this stuff, and that's my. I mean, how do you process this stuff?
So I mean, the term vicarious trauma is very real, and it affects a lot of people. You have to, and I've been affected by it, in certain cases are really hard. You have to be able to try to close it into certain boxes, sure. Right? And how you deal with it. So when I first started prosecuting homicides, that was a lot harder for me to do than it is now. So the more you do, I don't want to say you become desensitized to it.
But insensitive, but in a case you are.
Right.
It's just if you're, and this is true in any job, if you're exposed to the things that are not really normal human behavior, your body, it's no different than food. Like if you eat a certain kind of food, after a while, your body craves it. I'm sure it's no different. You build a callus a little bit.
Right.
And that's what it is. And it's for your own protection as much as it is for everything else.
Right. And part of my job, especially in my position as the chief deputy, I go to most homicide scenes. So when I get a call about
like when it's still while it's still going, cops are there and doing their investigations and everything.
And when I took over the office, I really made it a point that I want boots on the ground, whether that's me personally or one of my deputies or even an investigator. I want boots on the ground so we have a front row seat and firsthand knowledge about what we're looking at prior to the case even coming to us.
Absolutely. And I would also imagine too, now, police officers, they're well trained in evidence gathering and things like that, but they also are looking from a law enforcement perspective. Whereas you come in with a prosecutor's eye,
right?
You may see something that different than they see something, and so I would imagine, obviously doing that in good communication with these officers, it allows for everybody to be more thorough there. Where is like you're saying, because law enforcement, they're here first, they're trying to keep the peace, making sure everybody's safe and secure. Then they're doing everything they can to gather evidence and whatever DNA, whatever, the gloves or whatever they got to collect to prove a case here. But I'm going to take a stab. There's times where, because what convicts and doesn't convict, you're like saying, no, we need to focus more on this and less on this, kind of thing, because this is going to be much more disputed. If we can prove this, it's going to be much more difficult to disprove that.
Well, and that's, and part of my job with going to the scene is to look at that, to try to see, okay, what is a possibility? Is there a possible self-defense claim? Mm-hmm. Is there, how do we know that he's the one who did this or this person did this? And sometimes it's very straightforward, right?
Absolutely.
It's like right in your face. I mean, it's going to be easy to prove. Other times are, a lot more complicated. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes we can't make it, I can tell you right now, I need all the evidence before I can even make a decision on this.
Sure.
And, and I have, there are several cases that we have that I'm constantly sending back to law enforcement that I'm saying, I can't sign off on this. We're missing this piece. We're missing that piece. It's one of those things that's like you need to go from A to Z, right?
Sure.
But you got to have all the letters in between.
Yeah. Well, and this is, and I'm getting very general with it, but this is going back to, you hear the thing, well, if there's smoke, there's fire.
Right.
Yes, that's true in a lot of cases, but you can't convict on smoke.
No.
You got to convict on the fire.
Right.
And so even if there's a lot of smoke, we can't do a thing about it unless, I know that's kind of very broad, but in essence, that's what you're talking about here is no, it can smell like a duck and quack like a duck and talk like a duck, but until I can confirm it's a duck, it ain't a duck. And that's how we work in the legal world.
Right.
Even though to the common eye, it's probably a duck. But we got to prove, there is no reasonable doubt here that is a duck.
And that's probably one of the biggest things we deal with as prosecutors is, everyone has emotions about stuff, right?
Sure.
And rightfully so. But we have, the hardest part of our job is to look at it and say, okay, do we have enough evidence first to get past the preliminary hearing for the probable cause stages?
Yeah.
But then once, the evidence is still coming in, can we put this up to a jury ethically and convict beyond a reasonable doubt? And, in those cases that are like slam dunk, a lot of times, they're asking for a plea. They're asking for a plea.
Right.
And sometimes a plea may be approriate.
When they know their dead rights they're guilty, then they're going to see what they can do.
Well, then, and in certain instances with that, I go, absolutely not. We're going to a trial because I can prove this case. I can get a slam dunk on it.
And I'm going to take a stab that history comes big time into play. That if this is something you've had chronic issues that you haven't, then
If this dude's a problem,
sure. But if this is a kid that maybe did something really dumb and this is not the norm, maybe we can not ruin this person's life.
Every time we make like plea offers and that sort of stuff, we always try. I always, of course, under the Victims' Rights Act, we meet with the victim and I try to explain, what is the strengths, the weaknesses of this case, and about the possibilities of how a plea versus a trial may go and that sort of thing.
And in our court system, some justice is better than no justice sometimes. Right. And unfortunately, some justice is the best we can do because, and to be honest, this is the way it has to be. Because the moment we're wrong about it, because we just assumed, that's when we have problems. And it happens every day. I mean, there's a whole section on Netflix documentaries about cases they found out, oopsie, we made a mistake later and did all this. And that's the reason why we have to do it this way. And like you said, you really have to triage. It's like, look, I can see this. This is probably the person that committed this murder. But I don't have the enough evidence and resources to spend weeks or months on this when at the end of the day, I'm pretty confident that we're not going to convict on this. Maybe we can do something else, whether it's the lesser charge or like you said, and like you said, that's the biggest part, victim, because as a victim, you're, how can we do, but you're seeing it from an emotional lens as you should and normally would. Unfortunately, lawyers do not have that luxury.
Well, and that, and I like equating what we do to like an emergency room, at a hospital, with the triage, right?
You got to be the calm head in the room in the storm. You got to be the calm head.
I mean, doctors get affected by some of the stuff they see. Nurses do, right? We all deal with that.
They can't do it in the ER.
But they can't do it in the ER.
They do it crying in the room later. Yeah.
Right. And of course, the person that is always mad at the doctor is the person who's sitting there waiting for 12 hours to be seen. right? Because they're like, I've been here for this long. Why aren't you seeing me? But they
don't see all the variables.
But they don't see the variables. We may have that one person whose case is, so much life or death, right? Now, for us, what that means is, the case that is a homicide, a sex offense that's going on right now, where we have to, that is a big time case that we have to focus on.
Sure.
And maybe that may make some people angry because they're like, my case has been going on for 18 months. And it's like, I get it. But and
here's the rub is yes. And I know this, and obviously, Diana and every, I would argue every DA in the state here, they care about crimes. They want convictions. They want to do things. But here's the deal. These are elected officials, as is their bosses. And they have to go to votes. And if there's big cases that's in the media every single day that people are asking questions about and they're not seeing anything being addressed about it, that costs votes. And I know it's not a perfect system. It's not, when it comes to these kinds of things, I'm not always a big fan of partisan politics getting involved in these things.
Yeah.
The law is the law, and it should be interpreted regardless of what party affiliation you have here. But that's not the real world we live in.
No.
And so yes. So you're right. It shouldn't be that way, but this is the world we live in, and we got to play by these rules. Love them or hate them until you want to fix these things. You got to change it in legislature. You got to talk to these folks. You've got to, our whole judicial system, and this ain't just New Mexico. This is the United States of America. We need to really assess on some of this stuff. Yes, we got a big mindset of rehab versus punishment and all that, and we can make those debates should be had. There are people that need more rehab than punishment. But that being said, there are people that need punishment.
Right.
And we can't just wash them into rehab when we all know this is beyond rehab.
Right.
These are people with serious issues that need to be dealt with because they are problems in society.
and as part of our jobs, we have to try to assess that, right?
Yeah.
And we have to take in all the information.
Yeah.
Taking it in, and I do like sometimes when we go and do presentations to Leadership New Mexico, we'll go to that, and I did that with Diana up here in Roswell, and I did it with my direct supervisor, Patrick Melvin in Carlsbad. The one thing we say a lot about is our job is like herding cats, right? So it's like we're trying to take all these different pieces, make them come together. The problem though is a lot of times if we're missing a piece, let's say someone died, someone is all of a sudden we can't find, that sort of thing, that could really mess up a case.
Sure.
It can throw it into a tailspin because of the rule of evidence. And a lot of people don't understand that. They'll get mad at us and they'll be like, well, this was a slam dunk case. I don't understand. And I'm like, look, I get it. And I understand that what I'm telling you is hard to hear.
Sure.
But I'm telling you right now, we will not get this conviction at trial. And what's best for this case is we need to make a plea to this.
Well, and let's face it, defense attorneys are very good at what they do, and their job is to create doubt.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, what you're basically saying is, look, any lawyer worth his salt is going to create so much doubt in here that it's going to be really, really difficult to. Yes, if you take this at face value on the surface, it looks like a red herring. But anyone that's trained in this thing can start picking the holes apart and saying, yeah, but, and I know. And this is the part that frustrates people, but this is how it's got to be because the devil's in the details every single time. And not every single person on the prosecution side in every single situation is always on the up and up. And 99.9% are, but there's always that one person that, doesn't do it right. They either, and mostly the most common mistake I see in all these documentaries and things when you have these, and of course, every single one of those documentaries have one of these people.
Yeah.
But for every one of these, there's 1,000 other cases that none of that happens, and that's my point. You see the exception, but my point is the one thing that always seems common is when people that collect and analyze evidence come with a predetermined outcome. If they come in already thinking it's this guy, 9 times out of 10, defense attorneys will pick away that part lawyer and say, well, you already had your person. and you stop doing this because of this.
Right.
And so that is by far one of the strongest tools in a defense attorney's tool bag. And you guys know this too. And so you look at it and see, it's like, I'm telling you, they're going to shoot this down. This is going to be a futile effort here.
Right.
And so that's where, and I get it from the people on the outside looking in or watching Judge Judy every day and thinking he can wrap this up in 30 minutes or whatever. I get it. It's frustrating, but this is the real world. And guess what? You are innocent until proven guilty in the United States of America.
Not guilty until proven innocent.
No matter what. And you have, and duck, again, talks like a duck, quacks like a duck. Yeah, that's a duck. Not in the eyes of the law until we prove it's a duck.
Right.
And that's what we got to, that's the standard we have to stay with.
And probably 95% of cases are like that, right? Really straightforward.
Sure.
Pretty much this person is seen doing this. You have someone testifying doing that. And I had a trial recently where defense counsel used and it was a homicide, basically an argument saying, well, the state doesn't have this eyewitness, doesn't have this, didn't do that. And my argument in closing as my reply to him was, yeah, I'd love to have all of that. I would love to have 3 or 4 witnesses who watched this murder happen. Sure. But that's not reality. It's not reality to have a camera on every corner catching it. That's not reality. It's not reality that we're going to get fingerprints off of every bullet round, every shell casing. Yeah. It's not reality. That while, yes, that happens and you see it on CSI, as Law and Order, that's not how it actually happens in real life. And I have to explain that a lot of times to juries and make them understand that just because you see it on television is not actually how it plays. It makes for good television, but it doesn't make for reality.
And to be honest, and I'm only mentioning this because they just put a new thing out, and I watched it, and I was very intrigued by it. And of course, this is something on Netflix right now. They basically did another OJ documentary, and but this one is really from the perspective of Furman, Mark Furman. Darden, the deputy DA, Marsha Clark's basically co-counsel on most of that case, and basically some of the people that kind of turned black sheep after all was said and done on Darden with the glove stuff, the racist stuff with Furman and all that. But it's like a 4-part thing, but it's really the things you're talking about here, because if I'm going to take a stab that very few prosecutions had the amount of DNA evidence collected for a case ever in that thing, and there was so much good DNA collected, but the defense, arguably probably the best in the country at the time, they picked it apart. They were able to do, and that's what happens. Now, granted, most people don't have the dream team OJ did doing that kind of work, but this it really at the core it shows what is going on here, and of course we all look 30 years later, and I think 99% of us think, well, OJ did do it, what I mean? But when you see how the evidence, but this one also shows evidence that was collected but wasn't admissible because of some various, and to be honest, it was very damning evidence, and some of it was chosen, like there was like a lady that witnessed OJ getting in the Bronco and all this, like right before all that stuff, and the prosecution was ready to sign up, but somehow she went and sold her story before she got testified, and prosecution said, well, that just tainted that one.
It does.
But at the end of the day, her testimony probably, that would have been hard for the dream team to chew that one up. But this is what I'm talking about, or what you're talking about in this case of stuff. And so I say, I get it. There's so many of those documentaries, and as a guy who lived through it and seeing it, you're tired of all of that stuff. But that one was actually, I was like, there's some new stuff in this that I didn't think about.
Yeah.
So, and it really speaks to a lot of what you're talking about as a prosecutor, what you can convict and what you can, because, at the end of the day, like Darden, the way he talks, and like, this man is so passionate about his job. And at the end of the day, he basically got rope-a-doped by the prosecutor or by the defense here.
And what's interesting is, a lot of people, like for sex cases, for instance, think that there's always DNA, and they don't want to convict unless there's some sort of DNA. There's got to be There's got to be semen, got to be this, got to be that. And it's like, yeah, don't get me wrong. I watch Law & Order SVU with my wife. Like, we enjoy it. But they always find DNA, you know, in the most obscure places.
Right.
And it comes back in one day.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. If we get DNA back, it's 9 months later.
If you're lucky.
But that's if we get it back.
Sure.
That's if we get anything. And what it doesn't say this is a match.
Sure.
It says 1 in however many millionths or 1 in so many trillionths of a percentage. Now, the lower that percentage, right, the more likely than not that it is.
So,
but if you get something back that says cannot be excluded, yeah, that's great. But if you get one back that says, you know, no, well, then you're like, ooh.
The moral of that story is, if you have a rare blood type, don't go committing the crimes with DNA, because you're going to get spotted a lot easier than the people with the A's, A-pot, whatever the most common ones are.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Not like me. Oh, negative. You know.
If Vitalent's always asking because you got a rare blood type to donate, you shouldn't be committing violent crimes.
Yeah.
You will get caught.
What do they call me? I'm mine's one of the rare ones. O negative is the universal donor or whatever.
Yeah, like one of them is like you can receive anybody's. The other one's like you can give to everybody.
Yeah. I can give to everyone. I can only take from O negative. I think is what it is for me. It's just it's funny, but
you're right, and you're absolutely correct. Is DNA and all these things are very, very valuable tools, and yes, can convict, but they're not be all end alls. They're not. They're not the aha clues people think they are. They aren't the thing that wraps up your hour-long episode of Law and Order or whatever it is you're watching, you know, or Elsbeth now if you've been watching some of those cases.
I haven't watched that,
that's more of a police
side.
It's more of that. It's not convict, but it's very. She's much like your Sherlock Holmes rolling in with very observant, and you know. Everyone points out that very popular, and there's several of these shows that there's the one person that's not really a normal detective. There's some other thing, but they're just observant people and can, you know, or have eidetic memories or something like that. You know.
Yeah.
You don't have any of those in your office, do you?
No. I wish.
I thought every prosecution office had one like super sleuth that knew everything. It could solve a case in an hour.
No, I wish. I mean, sometimes I have a little bit of a photographic memory, so I can remember certain
but then I forget
certain phrases
sure.
and like passages somewhere, and I can kind of remember a line, and I can go find, like, I can try to remember on a page or something, but that's about as good as that gets. And
well, if you put it in like a comedy or movie, I'll remember that. But if it's like an important document, it's lights out. I'll never remember that. But.
It's interesting.
But that's the thing, and that's just why I love having these conversations with your office every month. You know, whether it's Justin or Gina or one of the DAs are talking actual case. I love because that office is it's so easy to put up your opinions and walls on things because of, you know, we live in this world that it's like if it's something you don't like, then it's the devil and it's evil and it's anti everything. I mean, you're a Nazi, you're this or whatever term that makes people feel vindicated on whatever they're saying. And unfortunately, none of that's true. Everything is the prosecution. They're here to help victims. They're here to get justice for victims. Unfortunately, the way the system works, you know, there's tools they can use. There's tools they can't use. And I know it's hard to fathom. And I know, especially if you're a victim or a family of a victim, and it's violent stuff. Yes. I get it. I'm the same way. I'm like, let's burn it to the ground. I'm tired of everything. I get it. Trust me, I understand. But we can't have that in a society that if we all want to coexist and live and live without killing each other, we can't do that kind of thing. We have to respect the law, even when the law isn't working in our favor.
And I'll tell people all the time, you know, I may not agree with certain parts of the law. I don't, you know, I think our sentences need to be longer. New Mexico is very easy compared to a lot of other states around.
Sure.
When it comes to criminal sentencing. And some people don't like to hear that, but it's the truth, right? Sure. It far less, like the length of sentences is far less. I wish I could control that. Sure. I can't, though. You know, a lot of people are like, "Oh, well."
But that to me, that speaks to the bigger problem of we're not investing our money correctly in the justice system.
Right.
Whether I don't know,
or the legislature more than anything.
But what I mean is, you know, whatever it is we're doing ain't working.
Right.
And unfortunately, depending on who you talk to, they're like, build more prisons. And I don't think that's the answer. We need more judges. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
We need more prosecutors.
Definitely
we need more
that.
of all these. We need more of all of those things, but we cannot agree. And this is the thing. We can't just throw money at it without coming up with solutions. And, this is like the DA dog program that Diana's kind of started in this office. To me, that's the kind of stuff we need to be investing in and talking about, because these are getting real results in helping the caseload and getting prosecutions and things like. We need to be thinking of these kind of ideas, not just in DA's office or prosecuting offices and everything else. We need to be thinking about this in the penal system. In the okay, our current prison model doesn't seem to be working right.
Right.
How do we fix that so we punish those that need to be punished, but the people that maybe shouldn't be there aren't there?
And that's
and that's where I think the bigger fix needs to happen.
And that's something we always try to take into consideration for every plea deal, every sort of case we have, is that we many times, especially with victim cases, we meet people at the most traumatic or worst thing that could have happened in their life. Either they're victimized, or someone they know has been victimized, a family member, that sort of thing. And so we have to be very considerate of that, but also take into consideration not just their rights, but the defendant's rights,
right.
The evidence of the case. That is very paramount in what we do.
Absolutely.
When I swear my oath to protect the Constitution of the state of New Mexico and the United States, that's not just for the victim, for police. That's for the defendant as well.
Sure.
That is, as part of my job, is to make sure police are doing their job.
Sure.
That's part of my job, to make sure that everything is done correctly. And that's why justice can look like very different things.
Sure.
And taking that into consideration, you brought up the DA Dogs program. That's also like a program that I myself designed that we are just now starting. Now it's a form of pre-prosecution diversion.
Okay.
We're starting it. It's called non-organized shoplifting diversion.
Gotcha.
So
this covers like the dumb teenager that stole a candy bar at the 7-Eleven.
But it goes to exactly what you were talking about, right? Like, we don't need a whole bunch of people going to jail for this stuff, that sort of thing.
So the end of the day is just dumb stuff that we all, get basically threaten the book. We learn the lesson, and then we move on, and they go on to live productively.
So the change in the law, I think, what was it, 2023, when they did the retail theft, organized retail crime, and
which
that sort
was
of stuff.
needed because we had no way, because what was happening, and they're going in and pop shot little stuff, not enough to get the big thing. But now they said, you know what? We're going to start keeping a tab on all the little stuff until it turns to a big thing.
Right.
And now and that's a good thing. But unfortunately, I'm going to guess now we've got to fine tune that law a little bit.
So with that, because of that, as part of the agreement, our office, we used to not prosecute petty misdemeanors and misdemeanor shopliftings, right? So that was all dealt with by officer prosecution, or it was dealt with in muni court. Well, now that's been taken over by our office. So our office that was originally doing 350 to 400 misdemeanors at a time, that's active cases, is now much more in the 450 to 550 range.
Because what you guys needed was more caseloads.
Right. Right. So, at one point in magistrate courts, what we were prosecuting mainly were just DUIs and battery on household members, primarily.
Sure.
The overall vast majority of cases were those. And then all of a sudden, the new change in law came. We took over doing shoplifting. And now shoplifting is the third most prosecuted crime that we have. But what most people don't realize is the age range for that is typically between 18 and 30.
Gotcha.
Now, that is the overall vast majority. That's not to say we don't have 30 to 50. But the other range that you see is your older people who maybe are stealing because they have to, or stealing because whatever else.
Life's handed them a deck of cards,
right?
And they're dealing with it.
we don't really see it as nearly as much in the 30 to 50 range, but you do see it in the 50 plus range. But a lot of these people that are committing these offenses don't have really anything else. Or they have just misdemeanor offenses otherwise. So I went to Diana and Patrick, my direct supervisor, and went, look, we have a problem. Mm-hmm. We need to fix something. We have all these shoplifting cases that we have the evidence there to convict, but I don't have the manpower to
physically work these cases.
Cases to the point where they're going to trial. And, a lot of, and rightfully so, defense attorneys can do that. They don't want to take the shopliftings, just they don't want to plea it out, that sort of thing.
Sure. It's serious enough where they should receive some form of retribution for this.
Well,
maybe not throw the book at them.
Right. And a lot of time, it's considered a crime of moral turpitude. So that can be negative for their work. It can be, whatever, because it's, theft, fraud, that sort of thing.
Yeah, because now it's questioning your character. Other aspects of your life may not want you around.
Right.
Yeah.
So that, we have to take that into consideration. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of these people, like I said, especially in that 18 to 30 range, that may be all they have. Maybe they have a DUI on their record. Maybe they have some other misdemeanor offense. But taking it into consideration, it's like, okay, we're prosecuting shopliftings for a $5 soda that they stole.
Right.
$20 worth of merchandise, food, that sort of thing. What can we do to make this better?
Sure.
So I went to them and I presented an idea, and I said, we have pre-prosecution diversion for, the violence prevention plan program, which is for better on a household member.
Right.
We have the pre-prosecution diversion at the felony level for, first offense felonies, that sort of thing, that are more theft-based, that aren't violent, that sort of thing. How can we do a program at the misdemeanor and petty misdemeanor level that are going to address some of these needs? And I presented it to him, kind of thinking back of when I was a defense attorney myself. And I said, when I was a defense attorney, I had shoplifting cases, whatever. I used to go and present to the prosecutor. I'd always have my clients take an anti-theft course, like a 6-hour, 8-hour course.
Kind
of
like when you get too many tickets, you got to take your defensive driving course, something like that, but for petty, shoplifting.
And then I'd have them do community service, and I'd have it signed off, and I'd bring it, and I'd be like, here, that my client did this, he did this. What can we do about this? Can we get this case dismissed? If we just pay restitution, can we do this? Can we
even the community service side, I think that's the key. Like especially if they're like teenagers.
Right.
I'd guess what? You're going to go work at that store you sold the candy bar at, and you're going to go do some mopping. You're going to do some sweeping, do some stock shelving.
So the program, the program that I designed with edits from my supervisors is 6 months to a year, in which it's a diversion program, and it's going to now be the standing offer on all first and second offense petty and misdemeanor shopliftings. So if you have 3 or more, can't do it. If it aggregates to a felony, can't do it. If you have a felony prior, you can't do it. But that sort of thing is going to be it.
If you're
under
chronic, then you're going to get
right.
But
but these are people that have first offenses.
But if we can prevent you from being chronic, maybe that's the key.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And as part of the program, they have to take an anti-theft course. They have to do community service. Yeah. They have to pay restitution. And
really teach them the impact of what their actions did. You know, it's like, look, it seems petty to you here, but here's the chain of events that follow by you stealing that.
Right. And so long as they do all of that and meet the criteria and do it within that certain amount of time, their case is going to get dismissed in the magistrate court.
And that's the kind of stuff we do need to going on. And because this is the problem, and this is why, people aren't sitting in jail very long and all this, because we're dealing with so much of that the person that's really, really needs to be in jail, they're slipping through the cracks here because, it's very rare for someone to go to jail and not be out of there within 48 hours. Mm-hmm. That's the norm.
The norm,
even for violent offenders.
Yep.
And that's the problem. We got to fix that. And unfortunately, and this is what it sounds like, because of the dealings because of that, we're so clogged up with that the people that really need to be behind bars, that really need to be prosecuted, really we're not getting the attention on them they deserve right now. So how can we shift our focus where we're not, trivializing what is lesser stuff here?
Yeah.
We want to stress that, yes, no, it's bad that you did this, and we need to make you aware of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're not, throwing the book at these people while the murderers and everyone else just keep doing what they're doing. And that's what we're setting the table right now. And this is why I kind of was mentioned earlier. This is more than just what prosecutors, and this has to be about what we do with once a judge says you're going to jail. What are we doing with them? And that's the side we need to fix. It's because the judges aren't going to put these sentences out there if they know in reality they're not going to be sitting there, because they see everything that comes. So judges really are handcuffed on their sentences because we don't have the means to do what really needs to be done for these individuals, or to these individuals.
Oh, and the one thing I can always say is that, like, our office, we're always trying to find solutions, right? I mean, and so we always, it doesn't mean every idea kind of we can run with it.
Sure.
We may be
some don't stick on the dartboard.
Well, and not only that, sometimes we don't have the authority under the law, right?
Sure.
It's like we can think about it, and it's like, well, can we do this?
But then there's something in the Constitution that's
or the statute or something. It's like, nope,
yeah.
we don't have the authority, right?
Yeah.
And so that's when we were able to do this, and I presented it, and Diana's like, yep, go with it, run with it. She, she's like, thanks for volunteering, it's on you, and
that's the politician.
And I'm like, okay, not that I don't have anything else I'm going on, prosecuting homicides, got a caseload of 300.
Politician class, that's the first thing you teach them.
Yep, design it, send it to me, and I'll review it, and it's like, I'm like, all right, and her name's on it,
I'm pretty sure that's also 101 in your leadership. I'm sure they're teaching that in IMI, too. But anyway. I just all the time, we're running a little short on it here, but just to kind of put a little bit bow on this, this conversation we're having here. Really, this is the thing. At the end of the day, trust me, your prosecutors and everyone in the DA's office, they are feeling and understanding everything that you probably have a beef about, or just something upset about, because you guys are experiencing the exact same thing. Yeah, and I'm going to say, what handcuffs you deal with, you as the individual, you guys in your office are dealing tenfold. That's not just something you deal sometimes. That's just the nature of the beast. Every single day. And this is, but again, part of this has to be this way, because it is. You've got to remember that at the end of the day, these are all innocent people until a jury of their peers says otherwise. And you can, and I know you cannot, but that's where we as humans have to evolve and mature, and to understand that to be in a lawful society, you have to live lawfully, even when it don't feel the best, feel like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It's I understand vigilante justice is a tool that we all spend weekends watching Marvel movies all about this stuff. I get it, all of that. But that's the difference. It's a movie. It's in real life, in society. You can't just go guns blazing because it feels like the right thing to do, or it will make a good movie story.
Yeah.
It's because, unfortunately, there are so many cases of people sitting in jail that were righteous but went over the line because they did something they couldn't walk back from. It's those stories of a family member being abused or something, and they take justice in their own hands. I know it feels good, and it makes a great documentary, but it's illegal. It's against the law.
Yep.
They will be prosecuted for that.
Yep.
And that's the sad part. Because we don't want that. That's a good person who just emotionally flipped because they saw something that was just too much for them to handle.
And I mean, I've had a couple different times where I've literally had to tell people in my office, I was like, I'm going to act like I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Because but I can suggest that you do nothing.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have to be prosecuting you.
Yeah, you're about to say,
so it's
sometimes you have to be their defense attorney.
Well, and it's like, that's the most I can say to you right now.
Yeah.
And victim, especially victim cases,
Sure.
it's like everyone wants to hang them, on the front lawn of the courthouse.
And
but
I
it's
get
like,
it. I'm that guy. I'm the boss yelling too. Get off my lawn. I'm ready. But
those conversations are the hardest.
Yeah, but in reality, nothing good comes from that.
Right.
Nothing. For the immediate tenth of a second of whatever gratification you got from doing it, it's all going to be followed by 10 times worse of what you did. Because guess what? If I know this sounds bad, but if you're killing people because they killed your people, you still have to sleep with that at the end of the day. And it may feel good right now, but down the road, and I'm going to tell you right now, you talk to murderers, and you look the years down the road, they're reflecting on those things that they did. And, especially as life becomes more in the rearview mirror longer than the front of the mirror, in the front of you, you start thinking a certain way. And this is why I'm saying, think. I know it's hard. I know but it's never the right solution to do that. And that's what you got to remember.
And the one part I say to people, and I'm not trying to go religious or anything, but part of the Bible that says, an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. That's very, very much how I go about it. Absolutely. It's like, look, I understand that, part of it says if he steals from you, chop his hand off. But it's like that's not how things work.
Scorched earth may felt good at the time, but guess what? What you're left with,
right?
Scorched earth,
right?
And no one wants that. So. Hunter, is there anything we missed that you definitely? I know a lot of stuff we just talked philosophical, but is there anything you definitely wanted to talk about today that we got sidebarred on?
No. Cool. I think we covered it. I know. I just wanted to mention about the non-organized shoplifting diversion that we came up with just to so people what's on the radar.
Can they talk to legislature about this? Or just if they can do more to get it outside of this? Is this more internal office stuff?
If they want to try to have something where that can be dealt with, statutorily wise, they certainly can. But that's just our office for the district.
Sure, but again, if you guys see good results, like the DA dogs, then let's spread it from rooftop to rooftop, and every DA's office in the country should be doing this if it works.
And I hope it cuts down on recidivism. People getting multiple shoplifting offenses, and it keeps people out of jail and addressing an issue. That's what my hope is, as well as reducing the caseload on top of it,
and not ruining life over something that's really stupid at the end of the day.
Well, make it so they don't have misdemeanor or petty misdemeanor offenses on their record.
That's the sad part is, some of these dumb things they carry you the rest of your life.
Yep.
And it's people get kicked out of the military and get dishonorable discharges for some of the dumbest things. And when they got to carry that badge around with them the rest of their lives, it's really hard to be successful. And it's no different when you got a felony record over some dumbness.
Right.
Thank you, Hunter, as always.
Thank you, Mike.
We'll see you maybe a little bit sooner in between, maybe not
Hopefully.
a year or two in between visits here.
Well, I don't think it was a year, but I think it was definitely 6 months.
Yeah, at least here. So thank you, sir.
All right, thanks, Mike.
And appreciate you and everybody in your office what you're doing, and even on those days that feels like there's no thanks for the job, we do appreciate it. So.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, it's 10 o'clock. We got to shut our hole because if I cut in other people's shows, they get mad at me. So you're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. Have a great day, everybody.
And as a tourist,